Ladies and gentlemen, today is April 5th, 2021, also known as 4/5, which will, from this day forth, be known as Trump Day in honor of the 45th president.
Fantastic. Good. Perfect. I deserve my own day. And we're going to have to make 4/7 about me as well, because I am running in 2024. I'll have 2 holidays.
That de facto means April 6th will be Biden Day.
Exactly. That's going to be the best day of the year.
Someone tweeted at me, they were like, in order for it to be fair, then tomorrow has to be Biden Day. And okay.
Yeah, I'll celebrate Biden Day, dude. Just speak in gibberish, say sentences that don't mean anything.
Fall down the stairs and struggle to speak. It'll be like a thing.
Oh, my goodness. It's almost sad at this point. I kind of feel bad making fun of him.
In like 1,000 years, people put on goofy hats and then jump down the stairs while making strange noises and not understand the tradition.
The tradition of Biden Day.
Biden Day. Ladies and gentlemen, we had news and then we started making jokes and then we all forgot what was going on. So, no, we have some interesting news. I've been watching the Chauvin trial, and there's something interesting that I've noticed because I'm watching this trial, and it's definitely that there's one live stream playing, but 2 different versions of reality, I guess, depending on your bias. And when I'm watching this trial, I'm very interested in the defense and the prosecution. I got to say, the prosecution got a bunch of very excellent points across today about Chauvin, apparently he never received training, where we've seen this photo of the guy with the knee on his neck. Oh, that wasn't trained. He wasn't trained in that. So they made some interesting points, but there's always a counter. Now, where it gets really interesting is how the media incessantly just chooses to frame it as though Derek Chauvin is losing, and I don't believe that's the case. I think, based on what we've seen so far, acquittal is likely, but that's just my opinion, and I could be wrong. I don't know what the jury is thinking. And I'm seeing a lot of the same stuff the jury is, as many of you are. I could be entirely wrong, and I think it's very, very middle of the road. It's 50-50. It could go either way. I'm kind of leaning towards acquittal because a lot of stuff that's come out. For instance, the doctor today who testified said that George Floyd died of hypoxia, and then even said, when asked, that fentanyl, the main reason it's dangerous is because it depresses your respiratory system, which causes hypoxia. I thought that was a very excellent point by the defense. And then the counter, I guess, is just, well, it could have been choking, I suppose. But it doesn't seem like the physical evidence to Floyd's body backs that up. So we'll get into all this stuff. What's fascinating is how the media changes the headlines of their stories to reflect an anti-Chauvin narrative, setting it up that he's going to lose and will be convicted. And then when people keep seeing the news saying like, oh, defense says this and they testify this, and you keep hearing how awful it is and how you keep hearing how it should be Chauvin going to jail, and they omit the key evidence that defends him, well, then what do you think people are going to do when he gets acquitted? If he does, their expectations will be set very high. They'll say something like, I don't understand. I read all the news. He should have been convicted based on the headlines I saw. And then riots will happen. So we're going to talk about that. We got a couple other stories too. Clarence Thomas issues this massive opinion opening the door to potentially sue or regulate big tech and Section 230. So we're going to get into this. And as most of you probably realized already, because for a moment someone was speaking like Trump, Seamus from FreedomToons is here.
I'm back. It is fantastic to be back here. Thank you for having me on, Tim.
I'm glad you're here, Seamus.
What's that?
Who are you?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So my name's Seamus Coughlin. I have a YouTube channel called FreedomToons. I make educational cartoons and political satire, mostly political satire on the FreedomToons channel these days. So go check that out if you'd like. We just released a pretty funny video about Joe Biden. We're going to be releasing another cartoon Thursday. We release a video once a week. So go over there and enjoy them.
Yes.
You're also very learned in history, which is always refreshing to have you on. And
thank you. I appreciate
chat about
that.
the past.
I appreciate that. I am. You know, are you making fun of the way Midwesterners sound?
No, I'm Midwesterner too.
From the past, is this
that
Tim? You should take offense to
yours.
this as well, because we're from
Chicago.
like the same. Yeah, exactly. From the past over
Nobody
there.
says Chicago.
Chicago.
It's like a weird stereotype from people who don't live there.
No, that's the weird thing too.
Chicago.
Yeah, my dad's born and raised on the South Side, and he like pronounces the A less than I do when he says Chicago. He's just like Chicago, like, which is not exactly like that. Like I can't even do it.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, the A, it's just an offensive
A-W-G-O.
stereotype, and that's not actually how people from the Chicago area sound.
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
extremely
Ian.
offensive.
Hey everyone, I am Ian Crossland. It is true, and you could always follow me at IanCrossland.net, where I do. Well, I don't know. I just do weird stuff.
He doesn't know what he does.
Try and unify the planet.
Ian, yeah, when Tim asked who Ian was, he's like, wait a minute, I don't.
I have a broad scheme. And
Ian's
it's
not
kind of
actually
vague sometimes.
Ian's not actually here. He's an astral projection.
Ethereal.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
True.
We had a dude who just joined the team, and he came here several times, but Ian was never around. And he was like, "I'm convinced that Ian's not real."
Yeah,
I
he told me
sleep
that
during
too.
the day.
And I was like,
Yeah.
"Well, that's the truth. That Ian's an astral projection. He's
He's a hologram.
He's a hologram. He's not really on the show. He's not a real person."
It's a vibrating multitude of spheres That's about all I can say. Right
All right, great intro.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Lydia's also here.
Yeah, what about
I'm
Lydia?
also here in the corner. I do eventually get to myself once you guys are finished. I was going to say that our new employee has been having a lot of fun saying that we are all just figments of Ian's imagination, which I think is accurate and fair.
I like this guy.
That's
People
right,
The
yeah.
whole
come here.
audience
He's
too.
great.
There's no
Because-
studio. It's just like a shack in the woods with Ian in it, and he imagines the studio and it just forms around him.
It's pretty cool.
All right.
What a
Yeah, no,
beautiful
That'd be an
mind.
interesting movie,
That is
actually.
weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, my
Kinda like
friends,
Brigadoon.
we're supposed to be serious, but it's just so hard these days. Well, it's probably good that we're joking around a bit because we're going to get real serious with this upcoming news
Oh,
and
boy.
the consequences for it. Before we do, go to timcast.com, become a member, get access to exclusive segments that only members get access to. We had Michael Malice on the show last Friday, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no,
Thursday.
last Thursday.
April
Last
Fool's
Thursday.
Day,
Not-
yes.
Julie Borowski was on Friday, but we did this great.
Oh, you had Julie on?
Yeah, she was
She's
great.
awesome.
Yeah, she's great.
It was a
Yeah.
really good show.
We did this bonus segment with Michael Malice. Became a full episode where we talked about secrets to success and advice we had for people. And if you want to hear some advice from from Michael, from me, from Ian, from Lydia, and things that helped us, then become a member at timcast.com. Help support the show. In the event that there's a great purge happening that hits us, as it probably will eventually, we'll see how it goes. We could use your support. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. If you're listening to this on a podcast like iTunes or whatever, leave us a good review. Give us 5 stars. That really, really does help. Everybody else, smash that like button and subscribe. We are so close to 1 million subscribers. I want to make YouTube give me that golden plaque. We already have some from other channels, but we should have 3 of them.
I
You're
want
getting
one.
kind of
4.
greedy, man.
I have 3 already. We need 4.
I need one.
Yeah.
Are you gonna just split it among everyone?
Well, no,
here?
they
We'll break it into
they'll,
5. Yeah,
they'll issue one for everybody on the show.
Really?
No joke.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yep,
awesome.
that's
So
right.
just like make me a host right before they send it. You should make.
I
A
mean,
bunch
I
of
just
people
tell them,
official
like, here are the
hosts.
people, and it
There's
costs
like
money.
12 hosts, and
Yes.
that they cost them. Even making so much money for their platform, Tim. Even when they demonetize you, I
you
think they
get
should just send
one golden plaque for free, and then you have to pay for the rest, but they'll issue them for team membmembers.
And it is real gold, right? Like, it is
Absolutely,
real
it's so
solid
heavy.
gold.
Yeah, solid gold. You know,
If you look
The
on-
shipping cost is where they get you, really.
You might be if you look on IMDb. You're probably listed as a producer
why are
or
we
something.
doing that?
Staff member.
Yeah, this show's on IMDb. Everyone,
It is,
I think
yeah.
everyone goes on, and all the guests and everything.
Beautiful.
I don't know who
Good to
manages that stuff.
Me neither.
Me neither. Yeah.
How about we talk about the news, my friends?
Sure. I mean, if you want, if that's what you want to do, I
I
thought
do.
we could like, talk
I
about our
do.
days.
talk
But
about
I
it.
was
What did you-
traveling most of the day. I'm a little tired, but no, that's my feelings don't matter. Let's talk about the
They
news.
don't. You know what matters?
Facts.
Facts don't care about
Earlier-
your feelings.
Media.
Earlier today, my friends. So I was listening to the trial live, and there was this really powerful point between the defense and the ER doctor who was treating George Floyd, trying to save his life. The defense said, long story short, like what happened, and they're giving really in-depth detail. Essentially, the ER doctor says that George Floyd died due to hypoxia, which is, can you give us the medical breakdown of what that means?
Pretty straightforward. Hypoxia is just low oxygen. Like a
Hypo is
constriction-
low and
hypo,
oxia is an oxygen.
Yep, that's it.
There you go. And he went on to say that there was a high concentration of carbon dioxide in the blood. Now, I think on the surface, the average person hears, well, he was suffocated, right? The knee was on his neck. Well, what the defense basically said was, can fentanyl cause hypoxia or a high concentration of carbon dioxide in the blood? And the doctor said, yes. Can methamphetamine? The doctor said, yes. And the defense then said, is one of the reasons that there is such a warning about fentanyl is that it depresses the respiratory system. And this was what shocked me. The doctor goes, it's the reason. And I went, whoa, from the doctor. He didn't just volunteer up. He didn't just say yes or no. He volunteered up and like, no, that's legit. Exactly why fentanyl is bad. It causes hypoxia. Interesting. Now, it seems like the doctor still went on to say he thinks that it was, he had no reason to believe it was a drug overdose. In which case, the doctor still, there's a cross-examination. The prosecution comes in and says, but isn't it possible that having your knee on someone's neck could result in hypoxia, which causes the heart to stop? And the doctor said yes. I still think it's very, very fascinating. The doctor said it's the reason fentanyl is so dangerous. And so I went, whoa. I was like, we should definitely talk about this. So I Google searched it, right? I Google searched, defense, Chauvin, hypoxia. And I see this. Check this out. Look at this Google search. You can see I searched for Dr. Chauvin hypoxia. 5 hours ago, ABC News, ER doc theorizes lack of oxygen stopped Floyd's heart. You can see in these, the text here, they questioned whether or not some drugs can cause hypoxia. You can see right here as well. Baltimore Sun, Derek Chauvin trial, ER doctor testifies. You scroll down. There's even more. George Floyd's heart likely stopped hypoxia. What do you think happens if I click this story? All right, let's open up ABC. Police. Let me turn this off. The headline's different. Kneeling on Floyd's neck violated policy. Well, that's not what I Google searched. I didn't search for that headline.
Yeah.
I wanted to know about the hypoxia.
This is why
Weird.
you use
Okay.
DuckDuckGo.
Well, hold on. Let's go to the Baltimore Sun. Derek Chauvin trial. ER doctor testifies. All right, well, let's learn about the ER doctor so I can pull up the source and show everybody. Derek Chauvin trial. Kneeling on George Floyd's neck violated our policy. Well, that's not what I Google searched. So what's happening is that the Associated Press changed the headline on all their articles after they were already published. So for me, who's trying to search for this to show everybody what's going on, we're getting a different story which changes the framing. Think about it. If the doctor said hypoxia caused this and fentanyl, it's like the main reason fentanyl is dangerous is that it can lead to hypoxia. And then I'm like, I want to show that to people because it's a very important point for the defense. And then all of the headlines change to say kneeling on the neck violated policy. Wow. Well, all of a sudden now the articles that I'm pulling up and would likely show someone, imagine this. Imagine I had that story. Right when I saw the doctor say this, I went, whoa. And I shared that story on Facebook or Twitter.
Wow.
Then along comes, my mom or my dad or my brother, and they're like, what's this that Tim shared? And they click it. And instead of getting the story where I'm like, this is important, they get a different story. Chauvin violated policy. I did not share that story. So here I am. We're trying to do this show. And I was like, we definitely got to talk about that. That's a very interesting point. It's not a guarantee that Chauvin will be acquitted because of this. I just thought it was interesting to bring up and to also bring up that very well, like putting a knee on someone's neck could result in hypoxia. The reason why I think this is important, though, is it offers a counterpoint to the narrative we've all already heard. When I try to pull up the articles, we get something entirely different. That's creepy manipulation, stealth editing that shapes the narrative. And here's my fear. When I'm reading all this news, I see a lot of really, really important points from the defense. Notably that there's training materials they've highlighted, a PowerPoint showing a cop kneeling on someone's neck. This stuff many people have seen. In the trial, there was an argument between the defense and the judge as to whether or not this actually mattered because Chauvin did not undergo that specific training. The argument from the defense was if the cops are all, doing this and saying this is an updated policy, then it makes sense that this might, exist. These things don't appear. Like the points from the defense about hypoxia, about drug use, about, what we talked about the other day. What was it? I can't remember all the details. The media always headlines with Chauvin guilty, right? So now we have this. We have the police chief testified that Chauvin violated policy. But there's another really crazy story, and the media frames it. Check this out from Forbes. Derek Chauvin defense shows video clip to suggest knelt on George Floyd's shoulder, not his neck. That's right. And when the police chief was shown the video, get this. The police chief was shown the video, and the defense said, based on this alternate camera angle from a body camera, would you say that Chauvin, it appeared he was kneeling on Floyd's shoulder? The police chief said, yes.
Okay.
Shouldn't these things be like, look, we all know that the narrative has been Chauvin kneeled on Floyd's neck. It's bad, and he's a bad cop. He was fired for it. When evidence comes out that suggests the official narrative may be wrong, shouldn't that be the highlight for a lot of reasons?
Yeah. Can humans overcome cognitive dissonance is a big question. And I think really it's our duty to do that. When we're presented with information that violates what we thought was real, we really have to let go of what we used to think was real and look at the new information.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of how you feel about this case, I haven't looked into it very deeply. I haven't done much research on it, so I can't comment one way or the other. But regardless, it's very frightening, though unsurprising, that big tech and these media companies would go through and try to suppress information that promotes a narrative that they're not comfortable with.
Well, here's the creepy thing. I look at the AP. So all these headlines from all these outlets, it's the same article. It's the Associated Press, and they're just republishing the AP. I don't think there's anything nefarious necessarily. I think there's an inherent bias with a lot of these companies. And they're thinking like, oh, okay, more information has come out. Let's change the headline.
Interesting.
They initially did run the headline, ER doctor suggests hypoxia, fentanyl can cause this. But then they changed the headline,
fair enough.
which fundamentally changes the framing of the story when people are sharing it. Right? So here's what's crazy, though. Forbes, I find it particularly interesting. They say, suggests the officer knelt on his shoulder. What's funny about it, suggest, is they straight up said he did. And the police chief said yes. Look what they say, top line. With limited evidence put forward so far to bolster his case, that's an insane thing to write. Derek Chauvin's lead defense attorney, Eric Nelson, on Monday sought to cast doubt for jurors over one of the most prominent details of George Floyd's death, the length of time the officer had his knee on the 46-year-old black man's neck. Interestingly, let me go down. Nelson highlighted that while it appeared Chauvin had his knee on Floyd's neck in the video recorded by Frazier, the knee appeared to be on Floyd's shoulder blade during the same period in the body camera footage. Asking Arredondo, would you agree that from the perspective of Officer Kung's body camera, it appeared Officer Chauvin's knee was more on Mr. Floyd's shoulder blade? Yes, Arredondo responded. Though the prosecution, which took the stand immediately after, was quick to highlight that this was one specific moment at a time when the ambulance had already arrived and very shortly before they loaded Mr. Floyd onto the gurney. We are not looking for definitive proof of innocence. We are looking for reasonable doubt. The burden is on the state. They need to prove he did it, he had the intent. If there is video footage that suggests we may be looking at the perspective wrong and people may have incorrectly assumed the knee was on the neck, that's very important. And the police chief said, yes, upon looking at the body camera footage. This is the police chief that fired these cops. Now, what's fascinating is Forbes' framing, once again, is already anti-Chauvin. They've already made up their mind. He's guilty. And this is just a distraction to suggest otherwise. We all saw it. We already saw The Nation, and who was it? Chelsea Handler?
Yeah.
They were like, we shouldn't even have a trial.
We can have trials.
Yeah. Oh, well,
You
good.
see that?
Yeah, because the media, told us what happened. So why would we need to look into it any further than that?
The argument is that, well, there's video. We saw it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's fair, but that doesn't mean you don't need a trial. Like, what happens? So if there's no trial, how is the person punished? Is it not by the justice system?
I mean, they're saying no trial. Exactly why. It highlights the exact reason why we have trials.
Yeah, exactly.
If video comes out that's shaky and it's someone yelling and you see a guy with a knee on a neck, there's so much we need to know to prove or convict someone of murder. Murder 2 requires intent. Murder 2 and 3 require intent. Mm-hmm. It's manslaughter that doesn't. It's just negligence.
Yeah.
So he has a knee on his neck. Okay, well, now there's even doubt as to whether he really had his knee on his neck because alternate body camera footage that we didn't see before shows, according to the police chief,
yeah,
I
have no idea about any of that. It's been so long. I mean, I remember seeing the video and it looked very much like he was on his neck, but also I saw this months ago and I can't recall all of it.
And it's possible he had it on his neck and then he took it off his neck and put it on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Maybe
but that changes the whole narrative
forth.
then.
Right.
Changes the whole narrative.
Mm-hmm. It could still be manslaughter, though, I think, is his point.
I'm not even convinced it's going to be manslaughter. I mean, it very well could be. There's definitely important points to bring up. Like, they are saying that he violated policy. That's true, okay? Kneeling on the neck, violated policy, Minneapolis police chief testifies. It's certainly not part of our ethics, and he did get fired for it. So while the prosecution has the administration basically throwing Chauvin under the bus, like, dude did it, there's still good points from the defense. And I got to say, reasonable doubt. We're not looking for 100% proof of innocence. We're looking at maybe Floyd died from fentanyl.
Interesting. Yeah. No, that's true. All they really need to do is establish a reasonable doubt, and then he walks.
That's why I think he'll be acquitted. Not that they've proven Floyd died of hypoxia, but that the doctor literally said that's the reason fentanyl is so dangerous.
Prince died from fentanyl overdose.
Did he really?
No physical trauma. He just laid there and fell asleep and died.
Yeah, so what happens with hypoxia is that your breathing slows so much. I remember monitoring people who had been on drugs and their respirations would get down to like 6 a minute, which is insane. You're supposed to be like 16 to 18 per minute because you're just like, you're basically comatose. When you're on that much medicine, you're completely unaware of anything and your body's not even able to keep you.
I would say, I don't know the specifics about Prince. He might have been drunk too. I'm sure that combo is a killer.
Well,
for sure.
I think, I went over a lot of the evidence. Like normally my main segment videos are like a half hour. This one went 35 minutes. 5 minutes longer than normal.
My goodness.
Because I went through the charges, second, third degree. And I don't know if you saw this, Seamus, that there was another guy in the vehicle with George Floyd. This guy's name is Maurice Lester Hall. Did you hear about this guy?
No. Like I said, and this is part of why I'm reluctant to comment. I know nothing about this case.
Check this out. Let me tell you. Let me tell you, Seamus. So this guy, according to George Floyd's girlfriend, was selling drugs to George Floyd and her. He didn't really hang out with them all that often. And there they were together in the vehicle. From that, it kind of sounds like he's just their dealer. This dude, Maurice Lester Hall, was supposed to testify for the state as one of their key witnesses. And a day before he files like an emergency motion, he's pleading the fifth and refusing to testify. You know why I think that happened?
Why?
The judge put murder 3 back on the table. Murder 3 in Minnesota states that if you sell someone a substance and they take it and die, you are guilty of murder in third degree.
Interesting.
Yep. So I'm wondering if that alone, I don't know if the jury can take into account the fact that a dude bailed and pleaded the fifth. I don't think it's
You're
fair
not
to.
supposed to, right?
Well, I wouldn't. I would be like, dude, pleaded the fifth. I'm not going to make assumptions about it.
Yeah.
Like now, externally, from a media standpoint, it certainly feels like the dude got implicated and then was like, yo, I'm out. Reasonable doubt, man.
Floyd said he was hooping in the video. If you listen to it, which means that the slang
Basketball.
term is that you play
Playing
basketball.
basketball.
No, it means that you put drugs inside your
You're attempting
self,
to smuggle
butt
them.
or
Yeah, I
your
don't
mouth.
Yes, yes.
And so maybe he did that, and that's why he overdosed.
Well, this is what's interesting. It was one of the questions asked by the defense, and that is kind of gross. But the defense asked the doctor if he was familiar with people,
Smuggling these drugs.
hooping
Yeah.
in that sense. And I don't think that line of questioning actually ended up going anywhere. He diverted off it right away. But I have to say, the judge said this in September about Floyd, that it looked like he had something in his mouth. There's video that shows it, and many people have speculated that he was in the middle of a drug deal. The cops walked up, so he threw it in his mouth and swallowed it. And then he said he was hooping.
And a lot of times when the people will be hooping, they'll put it in a plastic baggie and then put it in their butt or something for to transport it, But I think also you can just put it in your mouth and swallow it without a bag, and that's also considered hooping.
But then you're just taking the drug.
Taking it,
I know.
Yeah.
That's weird, yeah.
Reasonable doubt, man. That's all it takes. I don't know. I look at the media and I'm trying to better understand the story, but it's like every time I pull up a story, the headline is always like bad for Chauvin. But there's certainly it's almost like you'd imagine the defense was doing nothing, just literally sitting there getting yelled at the whole time because the headlines are always anti-Chauvin.
This one, was it a Forbes article you were just reading? Says he's a black man. They're very specific. They want to make sure
Well,
know.
Well, and also, I mean, the footage is really, really bad for Chauvin too.
Why?
With him kneeling on his neck, I mean, there's a reason the entire country was immediately against him. They saw even conservative people were watching that, all right, that's way too far.
But there's a PowerPoint presentation brought up by the defense showing the police were trained to do that. And they called it the recovery position. And some have pointed out the reason why you move your foot off of their back is because if your weight is in their back, then their chest can't decompress and decompress.
Interesting.
So they'll asphyxiate.
So how is it that there's a PowerPoint presentation that says they're trained to, but then the other guy says he violated training?
So that was the interesting thing in the line of questioning where the judge was basically like, I don't know exactly what the ruling was, but it was an argument over admissibility for the PowerPoint presentation where it was like Chauvin wasn't in the academy at the time this was being presented. And the defense was like, if they update their training policies, it's reasonable to suggest that Chauvin had heard this or was told this, or in some way, this is part of what the police do. And it was because an officer said, no one is trained to do that. That never happens. And this is really fascinating to me, that the judge wouldn't allow it because, by all means, say, Chauvin was never trained this. That's an important point, and it's good for the prosecution. Absolutely. If Chauvin was wrong, lock him up, throw away the key. But if someone goes on the stand and says, this violated policy, and he wasn't supposed to do this, that's what they say. The headline says, Derek Chauvin violated policy by doing this. But the police academy's got a photo of someone doing it. So how is it that they could show a cop doing exactly that and say it violates policy if they're showing it to people?
So were they showing this to people before or after Chauvin was trained? So before. So maybe it's something that the police force did away with by the time that Chauvin had done it.
It was a couple of years before, and perhaps. But interestingly, I think the argument was that the cop said no one has ever been trained to do this or something to that effect. Like the defense isn't making things like, okay, I don't want to say that. Everybody is giving their point of view because they're trying to win a case. Yeah, my issue is that when you watch this, if you're a reasonable person, you're like, I understand their point. I certainly understand Chauvin may have violated policy and acted with neglect, which could be manslaughter, certainly not murder. But the defense is giving a defense, and it's reasonable doubt. I'm sorry, man. Manslaughter is probably, in my opinion, the only thing that could potentially get him on. And I'm not even sure that's going to happen because that's negligence. And if they convince the jury that 9 minutes is excessive, 8 minutes, 46 seconds, then definitely.
Yeah, and I think if he does get charged with manslaughter, a lot of people will be upset that he wasn't charged with more than that.
That's why I think the problem is if the media keeps taking the headlines where it's like Chauvin violated policy or, Chauvin did this, Chauvin did that, defense says this, or it's always framing it as though you expect him to lose.
Mm-hmm. That's very astute. They're grooming people to freak if he gets
I don't think
off.
It's intentional.
Yeah.
I think it's just that they think people are more likely to click because on the story because the story is bad for Chauvin and people don't like the guy. We all have our bias because we all saw the video. We all made our judgments. Everybody, even conservatives, were mad. So then the media is like, this is the headline that will get the most traffic. All of these stories, that headline, they do talk about hypoxia, but not in the headline, which people will read and then walk away from.
What is this? They wrote a headline, and then when you click it, it goes, and the headline's different.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
How did they do that? They originally got the headline from AP, and then the AP changed their headline. So
yes,
all the other ones did too.
Exactly. Yep.
And the caching hasn't been updated.
And so Google has the old headline, and if you try and search for that story to share, you get a different story.
They should just wrote a new story.
That's right. They should have. That's right.
And be like, this article no longer exists if you click on that.
So the important factor here is someone could share the article where they're like, wow, I didn't realize this. It perhaps could have been hypoxia caused by drugs. What an interesting article. And then every other person sees the headline, Derek Chauvin violated policy, kneeling on the neck. And they're like, what are you talking about? So you guys remember like the gold and blue dress or whatever?
Yeah.
Or like
Oh my
Lanny
goodness, yes I
and-
do.
Yeah.
Yanny and
Laurel.
Yeah.
They're creating this because someone's going to have like a cached version on they're going to have a cached version from the article
wow.
where it's not updated yet. And they're going to be like, it literally says hypoxia, potentially from drug
in front
use.
of me, yeah.
And then the other person's like, are you nuts? It says Chauvin kneeled on his neck and killed him. What are you talking about? I'm looking at the article right now.
Oh my gosh.
It's like they're intentionally making people insane. I don't mean literally. I'm just saying these articles and the way the system is designed, it's making people hate each other and go nuts.
It's a form of negligence, at least, like journalistic negligence.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
So now I'm just saying, I think we're getting to the point where, we'll get close to the end of the trial. And if people only hear these headlines about the bad things about Chauvin, only hearing from the prosecution, they're going to be like, this guy's going to prison. And then they're going to say, acquitted on all charges. And they go, how is that possible? I was reading the news about the trial. It was bad for him. Oh, the system is corrupt. Riots.
Definitely. I mean, I think we can agree there that there will probably be riots.
Either way.
I think at this point in the present epoch, you can just always assume that every major story is going to end with riots. Doesn't matter. That's my prediction for the future. There will be riots. I don't know what's happening, but the riots will occur as a result.
Chauvin acquitted?
Riots.
Yeah.
Convicted. Riots.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Nothing happens.
Riots because he wasn't charged with first-degree murder and by the death penalty. Chauvin gets the space-time continuum rips asunder in the middle of the courtroom, and Chauvin gets sucked into an alternate reality, never to be seen again.
Riots. You gotta go.
Riots.
Riots. Absolutely.
Riots.
Interdimensional riots.
Yes.
Riots. Exactly.
Absolutely.
All across all dimensions, there will be rioting
Yeah.
constantly.
Kool-Aid guy bursts into the courtroom. Riots.
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 Yes.
Riots. No matter what, but it's like, yes, there will be riots.
So right now, what's happening is like a bunch of Antifa are in a room, and they're sitting there, and the door's closed, and there's like one Antifa, and he's looking at his watch, and he's got his hand up, and then they're all like getting jitters, like ready to start. And then it's like, okay, the news came in, and they just burst through the door.
Riots!
They're running around.
I felt like that was in D.C. last year, like November. There was like a march or something I went to. And at the end of the night, I was down there, and you could see, I don't know if they were Antifa or whatever, a bunch of people wearing all black, just like standing around. We talked about that. Zombies before the night, before the blood moon.
And NPCs before the script activates, and they storm in to play the game or whatever.
You like clip through the wall, and you see them all like just waiting. It was so disturbing.
Yeah. I'm sure most
sitting on ledges and stuff.
We brought this up at the time, but I'm sure most people are familiar with video games. So when there's like a boss battle, and like let's say the boss like bursts through the door and he's like, "Raw, who has woken me?" What's actually happening outside of that room is the character is standing there waiting for a script to activate to start the VO line and the graphics. So they're just like in a T-pose or whatever, just sitting there. And if you can go outside the walls, you'll see all the NPCs just frozen or in a T-pose.
Well, it's frightening because T-posing builds testosterone. So if Antifa's T-posing right now, as soon as the orders come down the pike, they're going to be out of their minds, and they're going to be stronger than ever before.
That would be a hilarious skit. We should do that. We should hire a bunch of Antifa people to stand in a T-pose outside of a protest, just not saying anything or moving.
Await orders.
No, just not say anything. And then finally, when something happens, they all start walking and they go, "Oh, fascism! Oh, it's so bad! Oh, we hate it!"
Oh man!
People will be like, "What just happened?" And like, "Oh, the main character he entered.
He
into
just spawned. Yeah, he
he
respawned.
So the script restarts. Everybody walks back to the same spot and then puts in the T-pose again, getting ready for the next riot.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I hate to say it, but I think it's.
I hate to say that we're getting comfortable with that there might be riots in the
I'm not
United
comfortable,
States.
but I'm accepting of it. Like there probably will be riots.
That's crazy.
Accepting of it.
I've never in my past been like, well, if global riots break out, well, whatever. It was always like there shouldn't be riots.
Isn't what? I'm sorry.
Oh no, that was my point.
Listen. We're entering this political cycle where like we're gonna be old and have kids. and it's going to be like, oh, it's 4:00, kids. Everybody come inside. The riots are coming. And the news is like, the riot will be arriving today at 4:10, a few minutes late.
Oh.
And they just like rampage through
like
town.
weather.
And exactly.
The riot man, the meteorologist. Yeah, it's sad. Well, and it's sad how many horrible things we've just become jaded towards. Like first it happened with public shootings and massacres, and now it's with becoming the case with riots. We're just...
There was just... do you see this video where the Antifa guy is trying to climb the Chase Bank?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
What?
Yeah, he tried.
That was rough.
Did not succeed.
He hit the ground. Can you play that? Are you going to play it?
I'll search for it.
He hit the ground, and then all of a sudden, he started to bleed. I put in air quotes. But
no, it was like
it's black paint, but it looks like blood
I hope
oozing out
he's
from his
okay,
body.
man. Yeah, I don't like
just
Antifa, but
no, he was going to vandalize this building
Oh,
with
I
black
see.
paint, and he fell and he landed on his hip, and
Paint everywhere.
the paint starts dripping out. I was like, oh, it looks like oil or something. Like he's a robot at first, and
I mean.
then this girl's like, this guy comes up and he's like, what happened? Where did he fall from? She was like, he landed on his hip. He was like, he fell from his hip. She was like, he landed. Never mind.
She didn't want to say.
She didn't want to tell him.
So,
He was climbing
we
up there.
we have this
Never
from
mind where
Andy
he
No.
fell from.
Andy No tweets at a far left anti-capitalism protest today at Chase Bank in Manhattan. A masked protester falls after attempting to climb the building. The black paint he was carrying is spilled all over the ground. So I'm not going to show the actual, because YouTube doesn't want us to, but I'll show you him climbing, because apparently that's okay. And then there's people yelling him, get down. He's not that high. I'm sorry.
He's like 8 feet up.
Yeah, he's like 8 feet up.
Yeah.
All right. And then he tries to grab onto the awning, falls down, his paint splatters. Here's my favorite part. Call 911.
Yeah, immediately.
Isn't it funny? You know what I thought about this? Check it out. The guy slams
like,
the ground.
why not a social worker?
Yeah.
No. Here's what I love. But yes. What I love about this is, imagine it's like 1870, and a guy is climbing the front of a bank, and he's like, "Down with capitalism," and then he falls and hits his pelvis. Do you know what the people around him would do?
But
They just walk away.
yeah.
Call for help, and they just leave. They're not. My hip is broken.
Call
wow.
the sheriff.
No one's gonna do
yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
They're gonna walk away from him. It's amazing that we're in today's day and age, and it's so pampered that these LARPers are like, I'm gonna climb the Chase Manhattan.
It was like the Chase Manhattan security guard. I can't confirm that he worked for Chase, but it was the same guy. It looked like a security guard for the building. Was like, we've called the ambulance. Don't worry. It's like the dude was just about to vandalize your building.
You gotta do the right thing,
Thanks,
right?
I guess.
You know what, man? See, we're so tolerant and accepting of this behavior. I get it. What are we supposed to do? We can't just leave someone there. But I'll tell you this: when I saw that, I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it. I laughed a hearty laugh. You know why?
No.
Because I've fallen from higher, and I watched Jake Brown fall from 2 stories at the X Games,
Oh, wow.
slam onto his hip, get up, and walk out waving while everyone cheered for him. So for those who aren't familiar with what happened there, it was in the 2007, I think it was, or maybe 2006 X Games. Jake Brown's on the mega ramp. It's like 100 feet high drop-in. Then he launches like 70 feet. Then he goes up a 20-foot vert wall. He's like 48 feet in the air. He loses control and slams into the deck. His shoes fly like 50 to 100 feet, just crazy.
Sheesh.
And everyone thought he was dead. I
is-
watched it live, and we were just like, oh my God. And then they walk over to him. They check out his neck and everything. They lift him up, and then he limps out waving to the crowd.
Oh, wow.
This Antifa guy falls 8 feet, and he's going, oh.
my hip.
They're like, what's wrong? My hip.
He's frail, okay?
He's frail.
nice.
He needs to drink more milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's this weird thing where people have survived falls from extreme heights, but then some people will fall like literally 5 or 6 feet, and they'll sever their spine and die. Like
Yeah.
it's happened.
Dude.
It's really horrible and scary. My friend was in the military, and he was telling me about someone in his unit who was a paratrooper, and his parachute did not open when he jumped out of the plane, and his backup didn't open. Whoa. And he landed, and he survived. He basically shattered all of his bones. But yeah, he survived the fall, which is insane.
Yeah, apparently there's like techniques you can do. I guess they say aim for trees.
Yeah, the way you land.
Oh,
Yep, better than
oh
splattering on the ground.
man,
sounds
yeah.
horrible.
Let me tell y'all a story. Let's talk about some skateboarding.
Story
See,
time.
I was like 16, and I was skating at a skate park, and there was this. We'll just call it a box. It was like 5 feet high, 5 feet off the ground, and then from the top of it, there was a gap over another ramp, which is about 5 feet. I spent about an hour. I'm 16. I'm trying to do what's called a backside 180 over this 5 foot high, 5 foot long gap to the ground. Backside is when you're spinning and you can't see where you're going because you're looking behind you. I think I fell like 30 times. And every time I would hit the ground, I'd slip out or I'd, roll. And then finally I land it, rolled away all clean, and everyone's like, oh, and they're all cheering for me. And then literally like a minute after that, some like 7-year-old kid was jumping up and down and frolicking with his mom, slipped on the ground in front of the ramp and broke his ankle.
Oh,
jeez.
And that's when I was like, man, isn't that weird? It's crazy how like I can jump off this on purpose for like 30 tries. And each time I fall, hit the ground, I just bounce and roll away and get up. And I'm like, I want to try it again.
Well, like it's such a strange thing. Like so my brothers were both in a car accident probably about 10 years ago now on the highway while they were doing 80, and the car was like completely totaled, and they had their seatbelts on, and thank God they survived. But there are people who end up like permanently brain damaged after a literal fender bender.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You never know.
Yeah, dude, it's legit. Yeah, some people like will bang their head just a little bit on like the window, and then it's just like causes damage. But are we basically saying that this Antifa guy has been severely injured and we must,
I have no idea.
Maybe he got really hurt?
I don't know.
Part of me was
video.
like, did not want EMS or anything. I was like, that vandal deserves to lay there in pain. But that was like a mean part of me. I don't know.
Yeah.
In a way, you want to take care of your enemies as well, like the wounded.
Yeah, love
no
your
matter
enemies.
Who they are.
Yeah.
We in the movie The Patriot with Mel Gibson, he tends to both sides after the battle. And then the British, because they're evil and they always will be.
The Redcoats, exactly.
Basically, burn his house down.
Love you,
because
Brits.
they did it. I'm kidding about the Brits.
You've evolved.
Well, apparently,
Tim, we know you hate the Brits.
Apparently, no, there's a big
They were
controversy,
so
I
mad
guess,
at us.
because
Yeah.
in that movie, they depict the British as like really
Like
brutal.
way over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
They like make them Nazis.
yeah, no, for real.
Pretty
Like he
much,
kills
yeah.
his kid.
Yeah.
He's like, you tended to the wounded, kill his son.
Yeah.
And shoots
Mel
him or
Gibson's
whatever.
great at propaganda. It was such American propaganda, that movie. Good movie.
Yeah, I
Great
mean,
movie,
Massive American propaganda.
No, the truth is the British Empire had power, and they were basically the state and telling the Americans who were like, "Yo, leave us alone," what to do, and so conflict breaks out. But anyway, I think how do we get into this?
I have no idea.
treating
where
the
this even
wounded
came
on
from.
Oh
both
yeah,
Yes,
treating the wounded.
Yes.
So actually, I'm conflicted on this too, because there's a difference between like understanding there's a conflict in a war and these people who keep doing this stuff. They don't stop, and what happens is they set fires, they break things, they don't get arrested. In fact, we render aid to them.
Yeah.
And so I understand. I would never let a person just sit there if they were truly injured. I'd call them, medical team. I'm just pointing out the difficulty here and how do you stop someone from doing something dumb like trying to climb Chase while they're screaming, get down. And then he gets hurt and we're like, who all saw that coming?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, treat them, but they should face the full consequences that are due to them legally. Like we should be arresting these people, of course. Don't let any of them off the hook.
But it's the prosecutors. And I'll tell you this,
yeah.
man. We've had a bunch of conversations in the past couple of weeks where I've been like, tax the rich. Not literally, but I'm just saying stop billionaires from influencing politics. And I get a lot of pushback, I get pushback for, we had Jack Murphy and Michael Malice, and they didn't agree with me on that one. But my issue is these district attorneys, they're getting put in office through the money of these ultra wealthy, progressive billionaire types. Not all of them are progressives. I don't agree with any one of these billionaires just flooding the zone with money and shutting out the opinions of the actual people who live there. But when people are just swept up with hundreds of millions of dollars in propaganda, these DAs get elected. We know that, George Soros, for instance, was donating a lot to a lot of the district attorneys.
That's just a conspiracy theory, Tim. I don't know why you would ever say
it's
George
also
Soros'
Steyer.
name. I want everyone to know that I like having a YouTube channel, and I denounce Tim right now. That's
right.
horrible.
But, so-
Don't you say anything about George Soros.
It's true. Well, I'll tell you this: it was the Mercers, the Koch brothers. It's George Soros. It's Bezos. Mackenzie Bezos. It is Tom Steyer, Michael Bloomberg. All of these ultra wealthy people dump money into politics, and one of the big things we saw was that I believe this is really funny. Like Fox News, I think Newt Gingrich was on. And he was like, George Soros' foundation was helping to get these district attorneys elected. And then Fox was like, we don't say that around here. And then people were like, that's a fact.
That's so funny to
But
me.
you can't even say the guy's name anymore. That's creepy. The point is, I don't like the billionaires. The millionaires and the billionaires doing this. Because then, listen, these people do dumb things. They get arrested. And then the newly elected DA, who's very progressive, goes, you're free to go.
That's crazy.
No charges.
It's crazy. There should be some oversight.
You can't name Soros. If I had only read one single book in my entire life, I might compare him to Voldemort.
I see.
He was self-made, right? George Soros, didn't he come from
Well, look,
a lowly...
the left, apparently, the only book they've ever read are Harry Potter.
That's true.
Here's
Great
the thing.
books,
All
by the
they
way.
ever reference are Harry Potter and The Handmaid's Tale, both of which are movies or exist in visual media. So it's like, I know you didn't even read them.
Yeah, you literally
You
didn't
just watched
read
the
book.
movie.
The
Yeah.
only literature they quote exists on television.
Did you guys
So,
ever
I don't
read
know.
Dune?
No.
Dune, you got to read it.
Aren't they making it? When's that new movie
It's coming
coming out?
soon,
I
yeah.
don't know. They made a movie with Sting in the early 80s. And
Yeah,
then
I saw that one.
They made a made-for-TV movie
was-
with William Hurt, which was way better.
It was weird.
Yeah, the movie, the David Lynch movie was a little off.
Oh yeah, you told us to
awkward.
watch it, didn't you?
Not the David. Well, watch it for weirdness, but the made-for-TV movie is way better. But the book.
I heard the book was good. Yeah.
That was a
Why?
little
What's it
tangent.
about?
It's basically
the spice.
this
Those
kid,
big worms.
this king and his son, his family have to flee the planet, and they leave the planet and they go to this new planet that's a desert planet to harvest the spice, which is like this galactic
spice
trade item, and there's like conflict over the spice, political conflict.
I thought there was
And
gonna be
there's
something
magic.
like analogous to Antifa.
No, it's just such a great book that all these, I guess you
Just
call
an
them
aside.
leftists. And
Just an
Harry
aside,
Potter's
yeah.
great. Dune, read
Dune's
Dune. It is
better.
political. Maybe there's something to it.
These people just don't read books, man.
Well, this is my favorite thing. I saw this meme a while ago, and it was like comparing Trump and Harry Potter instead, just like troll lefties. It was very funny, but it was like favorably comparing Trump to Harry Potter, and people were spreading it around. I thought that was hilarious.
So who,
Doesn't make
in
sense
that
either.
context, who's Voldemort?
Probably Hillary. Probably maybe Soros. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, come on, I'm not into Harry Potter.
I just-
what
I just-
are
I
we
just-
talking about?
Vote
Like
for
I
me.
don't.
I love how like at this protest they're holding up a big banner that says solidarity, and I'm like, what is that?
What protest?
At the one where the guy climbs the wall and then falls and hurts himself.
Oh my gosh.
They're like holding up a big banner that says solidarity, and I'm like, do you people like know what you're talking about?
For real,
What are you protesting?
the banking establishes a problem, but painting black stuff on their windows isn't.
That's gonna show them, Ian.
That'll show
That'll
yeah, right.
stop it.
Yeah,
That won't
are
get
you
the
serious?
cops to come out and crack down.
No, I can just imagine, the CEO, you got Jamie Dimon sitting I don't know if he's still CEO, whatever, probably. And then he looks on the TV, he looks out from the 100th floor of whatever building he's in, and he sees tiny little dots, and he goes, what are they doing? Is that black paint on my window? What have I done?
And then he goes, "Oh, push the button." And he hits, and he hits a button, and the building is electrically charged, and the guy's electrocuted and falls off the building, and everyone just thinks he slipped.
That's what happened.
And then-
Oh my god.
That explains
I love
everything.
it. Yes.
Like when the guy tells the story about what happened, it's very dramatic. He's like in
It's
his
like all my muscles seized up at once.
in his version of it, he's super ripped, and he's like, and he's like 100 feet in the air, and then Jamie Dimon punches him in the face. You'll pay for this, Dimon. Ah.
Planes are flying by shooting at him. It's like, nah.
All right.
Anyway.
There are better ways to protest the banks.
Agreed.
Keep that in mind, guys.
Yeah, I've always
Well,
maintained like
Audit the Fed.
damaging a window does nothing to anybody but the people who have to clean it.
What is
Right.
this guy? Did you guys see this guy suing the Federal Reserve? Have you guys looked into that?
I
at
think
all?
he's gonna win, Ian.
You think
I
so?
think he might.
I
think he might have a
I have my
case.
doubts,
The
personally.
Federal
guys-
he's gonna sue them for
listen.
everything they have, and they're just gonna keep printing and
Did you-
printing and printing, and he's gonna be the wealthiest person who ever lived.
Did you guys see Ryan Long's not Antifa window repair?
Yes, that was hysterical.
That was so
That was
good.
hysterical.
Yes.
Watch it.
Yeah.
So they have shirts that say "not Antifa window repair," and he's like, "We like figured out a way to maximize profits while we're protesting." And they have Antifa shirts, and they take them off, and it's like "not Antifa window repair." And he's like, "Basically, we go out, organize these protests, so everyone smashes the windows, and then we're right there to pick up the business."
Freaking brilliant.
Genius.
And then they actually went into bodegas and like talked to them, like, "We'll fix your windows if they're if they get smashed out." Yeah, good stuff. Good comedy.
Yes.
Good
wonderful.
Ryan Long comedy.
He's
Yeah.
a genius, man.
All right. Well, have we talked about Antifa falling off the
I think we have beaten that to death.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the
Let's
Section
religion
230
or
stuff,
something.
man.
Oh, yeah.
The first thing I want to do is I want to lead with this. 81m.org. Have you guys seen this? Have you heard about this? Have you seen this?
No.
No.
81M?
81m.org.
I don't know.
Tracking the White House YouTube channel.
Oh, yes. We were talking about this.
This is
a
crazy.
great story, and it's not shocking at all.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's crazy. So check this out. If you go to 81m.org, they say that they're analyzing the real like to dislike ratio versus what's displayed on the White House channel. So you'll look right here. Check this out. On April 5th, 14,570 views. The video is titled, President Biden Delivers Remarks on the Tradition of Easter at the White House. You can see the official approval rate, according to YouTube, is 12.58%. It's got 1,599 dislikes. The real approval rate is only 4.76% because it has 4,606 dislikes. This is every single video. You can see that they're deleting dislikes, not nearly enough. Okay, in this one, it's not much different. Some of them are fairly dramatic, like it says 1,000 dislikes when there's 4,000. This one's got 20,000 dislikes,
What?
and YouTube claims it only has 7,000. Now, when I first saw this, I thought to myself, how do I know this is true?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe they're just
My
lying.
question. Yeah.
They could be lying.
Could just be
It's true.
liars.
Could be liars.
Oh,
Dirty.
well, that's the story then.
Pants on fire liars.
Yeah.
But they also include an additional metric to compare using the same data.
At the end, they say, "Trust me, bro." So
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure
Yes.
they're telling the truth.
And come on, man.
Don't
yeah,
pay
come
me.
on, man. Come on, man.
I'm like, well, I don't know.
Okay, he's got a point.
That sounds like Biden. They track PewDiePie. When you look at PewDiePie's like to dislike ratio, it's almost identical across the board. There are some disparities, but that's because YouTube does legitimately get rid of spam dislikes from, bot farms and things like that. PewDiePie is overwhelmingly, his numbers are accurate. So when you look at a massive channel like his, then you look at the White House, it's very strange. Now, again, I'll say it. It's possible the people behind 81M are just like giving us bunk numbers and then claiming they're doing the right thing.
QAnon Trump supporters.
Yeah, far right.
Is it 81m.org?
Yeah, 81m.org.
That's possible.
Yeah, maybe they're just lying. But we know for a fact that YouTube has already stated in the past they do remove likes from the White House YouTube
Dislikes?
channel. Dislikes, sorry.
Yeah.
And they announced that they may get rid of the dislike feature
I heard about this.
for people's health.
I hope so, because it's bad for my health when I get a dislike on one of my videos. I wish YouTube would come through and delete some of those.
But you can still see them. It's just other people can't.
Oh.
Oh, that's not good.
That's not going to help my health. What
Yeah,
does
I
that
think-
do for
didn't
me?
they change it to say "not for me" instead of a downvote?
I did see
And
that.
you're like,
Somebody
this
sent me
video
that.
kind of video is not for me, and then the algorithm tries to feed you less
Not
videos
for
like
me.
that. I saw a
I saw that
screenshot of a
go
Steven Crowder video that
Yeah.
said "not for me" instead of dislike.
Huh.
It's interesting.
I never disliked since 2007. I kind of made like a personal choice to never do that to someone. I either like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't like it, I don't say anything.
I actually think they should get rid of dislikes.
Really?
What's
yeah.
that?
Likes and dislikes?
Dislikes absolutely do hurt channels. They make sure that other people can't see the content. So what happens is, because Crowder brought this up, that they'll put out a video where it's like Joe Biden says, X. And people will go, I can't believe Joe Biden said that. Dislike.
Oh, yeah,
And then he's like, no, don't dislike us. Dislike. We agree with you. Like what we were saying.
Maybe it's possible to adjust the algorithm so that disliking the video doesn't result in fewer people viewing it, but the audience is still able to know what the general consensus on the video is.
I
Yeah,
mean,
you can have, like, Facebook has little emojis, so you can have the anger emoji, the
Yeah.
heart emoji, the thumbs up emoji.
make it more complicated.
And they kind of show, like, did it make you angry? Did it make you happy? Did it make you laugh? So they could use that algorithm.
I've got a really good idea. I think this is the future for YouTube. They have 5 stars, and you can give the video a ranking of
like
a
that,
0
yeah.
all at the beginning or 5 stars, and
Oh,
each
wow.
video will be somewhere along the spectrum. Boom.
I kinda like
Why-
that.
why didn't anyone ever
Why
try
didn't anyone
anything
ever
like
do that?
Yeah.
That would have been great.
They should have been doing that
When-
since the beginning.
Yeah. Like right when they started, they should have had that
They
system.
changed
Like
it,
before
didn't
Google
I'm just a
bought 'em.
genius. Yeah. Yeah. When did that change?
Why did they get rid of that?
I
Like,
have
in all
no
seriousness.
idea. Honestly, I do think like a like-dislike thing is more accurate than a star system, though, because someone could be like, I like this, but like what someone considers 4 or 5 star content is going to vary wildly
Yeah.
between
Right.
people. 2
Very
people can like
subjective.
something equally as much, but one person's like, this is 5 stars, and the other person's like 3.5.
Yes.
So
I saw a Yelp review once where it was like the restaurant got a 3-star rating out of 5 from someone, and they were like, "This is one of the best restaurants I've ever been to. Absolutely great, 3 out of 5." And then the owner was like, "Would you mind giving us more stars if you really liked it that much?" But it's because the person thought 3 out of 5 was like really good. 4 was like wow, and 5 was too perfect to exist.
Impossible. Yeah.
So
impossible.
I was on a trip and I booked my own hotel, unfortunately, without reading the reviews. And then when I got there, I was like, this place is a little sketchy. Why don't I check out the reviews?
Oh, no.
So I went to the reviews. And it was so horrifically bad. I was like, I'm going to go. I'm just going to look at the worst first just to see if this place is dangerous. It was very dangerous. One of the reviews was like, someone was killed here the night I was staying here. The next day, I'm not kidding. The next day, someone was shot in the parking lot. I was like, okay. And then one of the reviews said, it was like listing all these things that were wrong with the room. And it was like, and I found a crack pipe under the sink.
Free crack pipe?
Yes. It was
Complimentary,
I
dude.
was fine with a mint on the pillow, but
Hunter-
apparently
Hunter
a crack
Biden?
pipe under the sink is the new thing. And the response from the hotel was, thank you for staying at blank Inn. I was crying, dude. I have to send the screenshots to you because I was like at this hotel and I was horrified, but I was also laughing really hard at these reviews. I was like, I have to
Where
leave
was
like
it?
right now. This was in Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah,
Bad neighborhood.
yeah. It was in a bad part of town. Should have read the review. Because here's
Yeah,
the thing.
read the
I looked at
reviews.
the reviews. Well, here's the thing. I so foolishly, I booked it very quickly because I was in kind of a rush. Mistake. But it said on the website's page, most people who come here return later. So I was like, oh,
Oh,
it must
okay.
be a nice place. Well, it turns out people who like go to hotels to do like
Yep.
drug dealers and other nefarious
Black
things will
light.
like go to the same hotel a bunch of times.
Hey, this place worked.
I like
Come back.
sorting reviews by likes or sorting them by dislikes, so you can see like all the dislikes first. I also like sorting by recent, so
Yeah.
you can be like what happened yesterday. And the nice thing about Steam, for
Because like
instance,
someone gets killed at the hotel 2 days in a row once, and all of a sudden
if it
people don't
happened
like the place
yesterday,
forever.
that's a lot bigger of a deal than 3 years ago.
Look,
But Steam lets you see how many hours someone has played a video game before they
yeah.
rate it, so
I
you can
like
kind
that.
of get some perspective. So if you knew more about the person that was giving the rating, you might be able to tell. But then, I mean, that's more of a complex algorithm.
Well, it's funny because then I was searching for other hotels and I found this place and I was like, I'm gonna look at the negative reviews first just to see. And the worst review was like, the attendant was very rude to me.
Okay.
I was like, I'm staying here. This is great.
Let's
Like,
go.
this is-
The main issue with like the YouTube dislike thing is that first and foremost, the White House is an official channel that produces content not as a career, but because they're the White House.
Yeah,
so they
what
put
if
out
it was-
updates.
So everyone met Joe Biden at the end of his press conference. Has to be like, smash that like button.
He should be saying that.
Thumbs up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, share, subscribe to the channel. Hit the.
Thanks for watching,
You
YouTube.
Could you-
know the
could you-
thing.
could
Press
you-
the like. The
Could
thing.
you imagine if he's at a press conference again and he's talking to the press corps and he's like, now for all you journalists, sitting in here, we're on YouTube, so I'm gonna give a shout out to everybody. Smash that like button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell and subscribe. We're really close to breaking 1 million subscribers, so come on, man, become a subscriber.
He's
to the
like
White
holding
House.
up his play button. He's like,
Jimmy
yes, we
Kimmel.
can.
Kimmel does it for his show, so maybe they should
really?
start.
Yeah.
At the end, there's like an insert clip where he's like, "Thanks for watching our YouTube channel.
Just
Be
press
sure to." He
button."
should do that. Biden should do that.
He wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, he
remember.
should. I would
That
actually
is-
give him a thumbs up if he did.
I would
Yeah, that'd be
too.
great.
I would be like, I have to. It's
Just
Joe
somebody knows what they're
Biden.
doing.
If Joe Biden, for sure, 100%. I'd be like, all right, I admire the hustle, and I've
Yeah,
been in his
I get
position,
that,
so I
yeah.
get it. He's
So-
like plugging the federal government's now running on Patreon. They're like trying to get funded. They're like, all right,
It's got 328.2 million patrons.
No, dude, it's like half
And
that.
it's like if you make this much money, you must subscribe for this tier to make this much money. And it was like, and then in big bold letters, if you don't subscribe, we'll come and arrest you at gunpoint.
Oh my gosh.
That's how Patreon should work, right? So listen, here's the issue I have with the dislike button. Let's say somebody likes political commentary and they like subject matter about whatever. When they give a dislike, they actually like this kind of content.
Yes.
They actually like this subject, but they disagree with something in it. Maybe it's the opinion of the person in an article. Maybe it's the opinion of the host, but they do typically enjoy this kind of content. The dislike in that regard doesn't work because then it results in fewer people seeing content they would actually enjoy. So ultimately what I'm saying is, if I make a video where I'm like, I think the government should bring back government cheese or whatever,
Yeah.
people are going to be like, bad opinion, X. And then what YouTube hears is not, I dislike this opinion. YouTube hears, this video is a bad video.
I don't like the channel.
So then there may be people who actually agree with that opinion and they won't be served the content. YouTube is effectively creating political silos where they force people into one or the
interesting.
other bubble. Because if you capture a liberal audience and you say, liberal opinion, all the liberals give you a thumbs up. So then YouTube's like, share it with more people.
Yeah.
If you say conservative opinion and liberals give it a thumbs down, they stop showing it to anybody. Then what happens is these people are forced to choose whichever bubble that YouTube sorts them to. It's almost like, you ever see that thing where they have the conveyor belt with all the little baby chickens on it? And then they're like picking up and looking at them and throwing the males into the meat grinder.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
very
basically
rude.
it's basically like what
That's how
it
it
is.
feels getting a dislike.
No,
Every single one. I'm like,
that's not what I mean. What I mean is you start a new channel, right? Start a brand new channel and say, my opinion on immigration. Whichever person that YouTube randomly suggests that video to, assuming they do, if their opinion is liberal and they give you a thumbs up, then YouTube's going to start growing your channel. If they send it to a conservative and your opinion is liberal, your channel's crushed.
But in addition to that, like you said, you'll make a video. You'll say these people got murdered and tortured, and the person will be like, "Thank you so much for making this video and telling me about it. That's horrible that they got murdered.
thumbs up.
Thumbs
yeah.
down."
No, like
Exactly.
this
And
you're
great-
like,
yeah.
oh,
yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I was saying
I think
with Crowder.
because it's important for people to remember that the like and dislike button is not there for you to assess whether you're happy with what's being reported on. It's there to bully creators with bad opinions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we have to keep
I've
in
noticed-
mind.
Or just ugly ones.
Yeah, like me. Yeah,
people don't-
exactly.
people
Every
don't
time I'm
dislike.
on the dislike ratio, you guys just get ratioed super high. I was like, why is this ugly
hair
man
gets
on the
bigger.
podcast? Yeah, exactly.
Did you know-
I need a haircut bad. I
They
know,
look.
you
You
know?
should grow it out. You afro that thing all the
How
way.
come? You know.
It's built for it.
What really bothers me the most though is that people aren't smashing the like button for this handsome
People aren't
gentleman.
Smash it!
Smash that
this-
like
You
button.
guys have to hit it. We're almost at 1 million subscribers.
Yes,
Do
we
this.
are.
We're
For
gonna
this-
get the plaques.
So excited.
But not even for the plaques.
I want the plaque.
So excited.
Guys,
it's called,
if we don't get how many likes do you get on average?
We get like
10,000.
12. No,
If
like,
we
12,
don't
13.
get 15,000 likes, I'm deleting FreedomToons.
Oh,
Right
no.
now. If we-
Ultimatum.
So smash
Guys.
that
Cemented.
like button.
Well, no, this resulted in a genre of videos that were literally just smash the like button videos, where it was really funny. There'd be like a guy, and he'd be like, "Hey, everybody, what's going on? We're gonna smash that like button." The camera like zooms in on his face, back and forth. There's like explosions, and it's like 5 million likes, and it worked
We should
because
do that.
YouTube would prop those videos up.
Dude,
so then people just started doing that. That's it.
I love that. People will always find a way to mess with the rules. Everyone's always trying to get away with something at all times.
Yep.
Sometimes people will be like, and go ahead and smash that. And they'll have like low energy. But like you gotta like it's more in like
Like,
the
guys, hit the
build up.
like
Like you
button.
can say tap that like button. But if you say it with like vehemence, then it gets
Yeah.
people to tap it.
Dude, that like
But
here's
if you
the
don't
thing.
have the energy, then
That happens to
kinda
me
funny.
sometimes because like there are some videos I end up having to pull an all-nighter in order to finish, and then I don't record the bumper until right before I upload. So the video's like really high energy and crazy, and then I'm like, guys, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the like button
Biden
if you
that
can.
bumper.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm like stumbling over my words. I literally become Joe Biden when I don't have enough sleep. I'm like, the button, the thing.
maybe they should get rid or alter up thumbs up to say like show me more of this, because on Facebook that's what it does. If I
Hey,
get
would you like to know more button?
click here if you'd like to know more.
At the end,
would you like to
there
know
shouldn't
more?
be a like or dislike. Once the video ends, it should go, "Would you like to know more?" And it just should appear, and you can click it. That's it.
With Facebook,
Yeah.
I-
Would you like to know more about what? The specific video?
from
I don't
this
know.
from this person
Some
is
Starship
basically
Troopers.
From this
I don't
person?
care.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
like on
It went
Facebook.
over my head.
I'll go down the list and I'll see things from people that I like following, and I don't even care what they put, but I'll just like it because I want to see more from that person. So I've broken I've seen passed through the algorithm.
Can we
It's
get
not about
3,000 likes for Ian breaking the algorithm
There you
and
go,
looking
yeah.
past it?
Like it.
Absolutely.
So apparently, if on Facebook you post that you have a kid and got married, it'll appear on the top of all of your friends' feeds.
wow.
And so what people started doing for a while is they'd post like, "Just got married and had a new child, so excited." Anyway, none of that's true. I just want to let you know that I'm having a barbecue at my house. No joke. People were doing that
hilarious.
because the algorithm found out that people interacted the most with posts about marriage and having kids.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Love it, yeah," and they're all commenting and thumbs up.
Congratulations.
So they get boosted, and then the algorithm makes no sense.
Shameful, Tim.
I know.
Yeah.
That's fraud.
Well, we're talking about social media manipulation, and I think this should segue us into our next really major story.
Oh yeah.
Clarence Thomas blasts Section 230, wants common carrier rules for Twitter. Thomas claims Twitter's right to cut off speech raises First Amendment problem. This is an amazing story. Do you guys remember when Trump got sued for blocking people?
Yeah.
What?
Vaguely.
No.
Here's the thing. Probably I'm not going to say I didn't pay attention to it. Maybe I did, but there were so many Trump stories that it's like they've all just they're
Sure.
gone now.
Good
They're all out of
point.
my head. They just got washed right out. As soon as he left office, I was like, that's it. Don't need to remember any of this.
In fact,
Like Dumbledore with
Yeah,
the pensive.
just like
you
the-
took your memories
exactly.
out
Oh
like
my
Harry
goodness.
Potter.
Don't. I'm going to get a generational spirit if you keep talking about Harry Potter around me. I
Do it.
can't.
Okay, so Trump got sued, and this court ruled Trump can't block people. And it was like one of the stupidest rulings. A lot of people were like, that's dumb, because Twitter is a private business, and how could it be a public forum? Here's the ruling. Trump tweets, it creates a public forum where people can reply. So if Trump bans them, it's violating their First Amendment right, so we can't do that. Then a lot of people were like, but Twitter's a private company, and Twitter can remove that.
Yeah.
And Twitter started putting restrictions. So how can you call it a public forum created when a private company has a right to remove this? The way I viewed it was like, imagine Donald Trump holds an event open to the public, but hires a private security contractor. So what? The private security company can kick people out? And protesters show up. Oh, but it's a private security company. Mm-hmm. They're the ones running this event and control things. They have the authority to remove people, so it's not a violation of your First Amendment rights. If you're protesting the president and a private company removes you, so the courts ruled Trump can't remove you, but a private company can.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. So it actually got upheld on appeal. Then it made its way to the Supreme Court, where they dismissed it and vacated the ruling. Congratulations, if you're a politician like AOC, you can now block people again, because she was also implicated in this because she was blocking people. Here's where it gets crazy, though. The whole thing's backfiring. The left wanted the regulation, and with this ruling, Clarence Thomas issued this massive opinion. I mean, massive in terms of the impact it may end up having. He issued his opinion, which will have a massive impact, in my opinion, where he said that how is it that a private company like Twitter can ban the president, but these courts are claiming it's a First Amendment issue? Maybe these are not platforms. In fact, they're common carriers like phone companies.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm saying. The rules for Section 230, for those that aren't familiar, basically say a web service platform can't be held responsible for the things its users say. You've got to sue the user. Long story short. If I have if Seamus has a blog, let's say you set up a blog where you write articles about religion, and you have a comment section so that people can respond to you and give you thoughts. And you have rules where you're like, this is specifically for talk on Christianity and our opinions. It makes sense, in my opinion, then, to ban people who violate your rules. Because the point of your website is for you, Seamus, to publish, not for the comments. Those are ancillary. Those are peripheral to the main objective. Twitter's express purpose is users commenting and posting things, which is more like a phone company.
Yes.
Imagine if, you went to Verizon for a phone, not to talk to people, but to hear what the CEO of Verizon wanted to tell you. Right? It's very different. You know what I mean? Oh, but you can call someone, but every day you open your phone and there's the CEO talking. And then you can well, I think you're dumb. That's more like what they're trying to claim. You know what I mean?
It's kind of how these Android phones are. I don't think Google doesn't hit me with an ad every time I open my phone, but there are Google ads.
Well, that is just, they are just burning money if they don't do that.
Right. Don't give my
The libertarians got mad at me, though.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
The Libertarian Party of Texas said it was horrible for free speech because a company was the government was getting in the way.
Yeah.
This is the weirdest thing to me about the big L libertarian position on this. Why is it that the big L Libertarian Party is pro-authoritarianism as long as it's coming from corporations?
It's really weird.
That's very weird.
Yeah.
Is it right? So I'm little L Libertarian, meaning I overwhelmingly just want the individual to be protected. When a massive multinational corporation is dumping money into politics and manipulating the ability for people to speak and get their representatives elected, that's authoritarianism, and I'm not okay with that.
Well, yeah, it would be one thing if it was like a totally, completely free private market. Then it would make some sense to be like, no, they have to be protected and we can't break them up. But there's so much state involvement already that it seems as if state involvement in the direction of helping people to express themselves instead of allowing the big tech companies to do whatever they want and be supported in that decision is probably more in line with a lot of the classically liberal principles libertarians have, agree or disagree with them.
You can't break up Twitter, though. Twitter works as a service because of its ubiquity.
Yeah.
If you broke up Twitter
That's
into
a good point.
10 services, nobody would want to use any of these services because
yeah.
who would you be following? Unless they were forced into the Fediverse, then it would make sense. But you can't break up Google or Twitter in the same way. You can break up Google because Google has a bunch of different companies. Like Google search can't be broken up. They dominate search, period. Nothing you can do about it. However, Google, Alphabet also owns an ad network, ad sales. They run ads, they buy ads, and they've got, G Suite, they've got Calendar, they got
X,
all
they
these
got
different,
X.
yeah,
X
all
is
of these
their
different
tech
areas that do a
company.
bunch of different crazy things. You could break that up. So in terms of big tech, what I see is the usefulness of social media is in its monopolistic tendencies, not in terms of abuse of its users, but in the fact that everybody uses one service to communicate. So that's why I'm very much in favor of it needs to be regulated. There's not going to be Twitter 2. Parler almost came about and it got crushed.
Yeah.
So that's where it's really bad. It's not about antitrust. It's about what is this, RICO? What is it, racketeering? What do you call it when all these companies come together and they collude to stifle any competition?
Hostile takeover?
No, it's just
No.
it's trust violations
Yeah.
and stuff like that, right? Yeah.
That does sound like
Bad
racketeering.
stuff.
Hostile takeover is when you buy a company out, right?
Yeah,
those were
you-
made
you-
illegal
you-
in the
you-
early 1900s.
No, I think they still happen. What do you mean?
Well, they're supposed to be illegal.
They buy up as much shares as possible until they have controlling majority, and then they take
yeah,
over.
they ruin the value
Which
of
is
the
what
other
those
company and then buy it.
horrible, which is what those horrible Redditors did to GameStop. It was very
I
sad.
know. Truly awful.
Well, did you hear that they're going to be issuing new stock?
Really?
So
Wait, they just started over?
GameStop, I think, announced that they had a bump in sales and that they were going to be doing a stock offering, and then a bunch of people started selling because a stock offering means the short sellers have an exit. However, the stock still is at like $200, so
Really?
that's still a lot of money.
It's still really high right now.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
surprised
definitely.
it didn't
You know,
take a dive.
My thoughts on this free speech thing is that I've never heard of a corporation upholding free speech in the history of the world. That is what the United States government was built for. So obviously, I think we should
Well,
rely on the government for this one.
The government doesn't guarantee free speech. The government is prohibited from infringing upon free speech.
Oh, okay.
So when people, the Libertarian Party responded to me on Twitter, and they were like, "You think the problem will be like it'll be made better with government involvement?" And I'm like, the government involvement goes so far as saying you can't do that. Not that they're gonna show up to the Twitter's headquarters,
Nationalize
and say,
Twitter.
Yeah.
And then you send your tweet out and they give you a tracking number. They'll be like, it'll be up in 2 weeks. Like,
Right. The government is like, your inalienable right is the freedom to speech. Now we're going to make sure people don't infringe on that.
Yeah, it's not about the government working at Twitter. It's about a pathway to a lawsuit. It's about the government saying, you can sue over this. That's it.
and there's also something to be said for, even if you left the system the way it was now, for the terms of service to be applied equitably.
That's a good point.
Because there are so many people who have said things which are horrifically violent, but it's in the direction of assaulting conservatives. Like, I mean, we saw this a lot, not to beat a dead horse, but hey, some dead horses need their butts kicked. And this is a pretty serious topic. The whole Nick Sandmann story is the perfect example. You had like grown adults jumping on this kid. No one has a more punchable face, and we should put them in a wood chipper. Just psychotic stuff like that. And they weren't banned.
Yeah.
But then Trump was like, you're my special boys and you're very peaceful. And they deleted Trump completely off the platform.
They're screaming at the top of their lungs. You gotta get rid of them. So here's what's going to happen. What could happen with Clarence Thomas? It doesn't do anything. They dismissed this case. They vacated the previous ruling. But Clarence Thomas's opinion could be used in a lawsuit or as justification for regulation of these platforms through Congress. I really doubt Congress would do anything because, surprise, surprise, the left is not in favor of free speech when it's their enemies that are being censored. So there's potential for a lawsuit, I suppose. Under Clarence Thomas's opinion, someone could now sue and say, here's what Clarence Thomas said.
What would they sue exactly? What would they sue for?
So it's interesting. I've seen a bunch of arguments, and they tend to fail for a variety of reasons. But when you sign up for Twitter, you're entering into a contract with Twitter as well as like you're both in a contract. You're both parties to this agreement. Now, Twitter and most platforms say we reserve the right to ban anyone for any reason, and that basically, cuts you off. You can't really do much. But the general idea we've seen from some people is we entered into agreement, and Twitter violated that by removing me for fake reasons. The other thing, however, that I think is being overlooked by people is that Twitter should be sued for defamation and libel when someone gets banned. So, for instance, when Milo got suspended, I think they said something like he was running multiple accounts. Okay.
So they should have said we're
If
banning
that's
him
not
for no
true,
reason. Yeah.
if that's not true, then Milo should sue for defamation, for libel, saying they issued this statement to the press. It's not true.
Could you imagine if they started being like, we're going to ban this person for no reason?
We
They
just
do.
take.
They
What
do
if
that.
they
But
just
if
took
that
some
was their
random
public
dude?
statement,
But what if it
they
was
had to say that or it was defamation? This person
Yeah.
we're banning for no reason.
What if like they run
we
out
want
of
to.
people to ban because they've just gotten rid of all their political opponents, but like the Twitter CEOs they still need blood, and so they just like start picking random accounts to be sacrificed every year as tribute. They just some dude named Greg. They're just like tweeting
Tribute.
he's just like tweeting benign stuff, and they're like, your account has to go. They just like will randomly grab people and remove them from the platform.
It's like
'cause
decimation.
It's a power
And then
trip.
at that
It's a
point,
power trip, man.
For tribal reasons, the left has to support it.
Yes.
And so they all just
They're like,
clap.
eliminate Greg, just in unison. They're like, goodbye, Greg. Wouldn't that be
Greg
hilarious?
is
If like
racist.
we
And
just
they have
started
to clap in
canceling
between.
people, like people fall so in line with the narrative that you can't find anyone to cancel, so they just have to randomly select people for canceling, and like everyone's like wearing their like cult hoods. They're like, cancel Greg, but it's just
You have to clap.
yeah,
You have to
exactly.
clap.
No, you have to snap.
cancel Greg.
You have to snap.
That's right.
Snap.
Clapping.
Jazz
You
hands.
remember?
Oh, the clapping
do jazz
emojis.
hands?
Triggering, yeah.
Clapping. Yeah. You have to do jazz
clapping
hands, and you
emoji,
have to
dude.
snap.
It's
Clapping
called the
is
soy
a
clap.
problem. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Soy clap when you clap between words.
Is that? Oh, that's right. I've seen
Cancel
that.
Greg.
But let me tell you, I have to be honest. That does make me appreciate someone's opinion more when
know,
they have
right?
just claps between it. I'm like, this guy,
Takes
he
some
knows
effort.
something that I don't.
What is the clapping thing, and why do people do it?
I don't know. I think it's
power
just
grab, I don't
like a
know.
cool guy thing. It's
I'm making noise.
Or are they like
Yes.
singing?
yeah.
Like
I don't know.
You're being,
when they're
loud. Like I think this thing. Like you are really.
I always
on it.
imagine
like
it like
earlier,
they're going like
I'll be real with you. I
Donald
think
Trump is gotta go. Like they're clapping along to the music. You know what I mean?
it could be. I did. I was
like
guilty
that.
of it earlier. I think when I was telling people to smash the like button, I was doing a little bit of a clap. It just gets the people going.
Smash the like
Smash the like button. And they do it because you clap, and that means you have authority.
Yes.
Clapping.
Please
Yeah,
clap.
clap on, clap
Please
off.
clap.
Please clap.
We could have had that's all we had to do was clap it, but now we don't have Jeb Bush.
Seamus,
Boo.
Yes, sir.
have you been following the news on Project Veritas?
No, I have not. I know.
They-
I've been bad. I've been behind. I've been traveling so much lately. It's just
Sleeping under a rock, this guy.
I know. I just haven't been sleeping is the thing.
That's the issue.
So the story from Project Veritas, they sued the New York Times, right?
Oh, snap.
And they won a major victory.
Really?
The case is not over.
Oh, boy.
But so I think James mentioned that there's only been like in the past 80 years something like 8 lawsuits that have made it past a motion to dismiss. Here's what happens.
Wait, 8 lawsuits against the New York Times?
Against the New York Times.
Okay.
There's something called anti-SLAPP, strategic lawsuits against public participation. When you sue a prominent news organization or public figure, you have it's called an actual malice standard, meaning you had to have known what you said was false or what you wrote was false.
Yeah.
Which is almost impossible to do.
Very difficult. I think we've talked about this
Right.
before. You really can't prove that somebody knew what they were saying was
How do you
wrong.
read their mind?
It's really difficult to prove intent.
However,
in general,
if you can get past a motion to dismiss, you can go through their messages and you can put them under oath, which Veritas now will be able to do. Here's the hold on.
boy, they didn't clear their inboxes at the New York Times. I
They
hope.
can't. They've been instructed to preserve all data and communications. It would be.
Did they smash their cell phones with hammers and delete all 30,000 emails? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Do you want to know what the best part about this lawsuit is?
Tell me.
The defense the New York Times had to get James O'Keefe's lawsuit dismissed was that their factual news articles are actually unverifiable opinions.
Really? Really? So they said the quiet part loud. I
They had
love
to.
it. Yeah.
It was a defense. They basically said when we called Project Veritas deceptive and, said these things about him, those were just our writers' unverifiable opinions and are thus not actionable. And the judge said, seems to me that if you're stating something is a factual news piece, but your reporters interject their opinions, you should be required to tell people it was an opinion piece.
But wait, Tim, if it's the opposite of fact news, what's that called?
Opinion news?
The opposite fake. There's another
Faked
word.
faked,
Fake. Some kind of
faded,
faked
fake-
news.
fake
news
news.
which has been faked. What is unbelievable?
Fake news.
CNN. I never thought I'd live to see the day.
I know.
This is serious. I mean, Project Veritas may have, if they win, and I think they will based on this preliminary ruling.
Wow.
It sounds really good. This could set precedent that could last for 100 years.
That would be beautiful. Yeah, I really
Listen.
did not agree with. No, never mind. Sorry, I was about to make a comment about the New York Times. Oh, this is New York Times, or is this CNN?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
New
I'm
York
all
Times.
over the place right now.
New York Times.
Yeah, I didn't agree with New York Times, opinion pieces on the Holodomor either. Really weird. Going back a long time.
Oh, those opinion pieces.
Yeah, those opinion pieces were pretty bad. That they got Pulitzer prizes for their opinions. The
Walter
Pulitzer
Duranty.
Prize in opinion. Sorry.
So the way the news has typically worked, and I've talked to lawyers about lawsuits, is they say, Tim, I'm sorry they smeared you. There's nothing you can do. It's an opinion. And I was like, so you mean to tell me if someone writes an article and says like Ian is, far right or whatever, they can publish that in a news article and just say Ian Crossland, a far right commenter, even though there's no factual basis to that. And they're like, it's their opinion. Yeah. And I was like, hold on. If a news organization is claiming they're reporting facts, doesn't matter. That phrase is an opinion. And I'm like, how is this the way things work?
Yeah.
Veritas sues. And the judge said, if it's a fact-based news story, stands to reason, you have to tell people if it's actually an opinion piece when you put opinions in it.
Yeah, I would say
that
so.
changes the whole game.
Yeah. So, like, if they were to say something which is objectively verifiable, so if they were to say, like, Seamus Coughlin has an IQ below 85, and I sued, well, they would win because that's actually true. But if they make, so I'm curious, if they make objective comments about a person beyond far right or far left, right? Because these terms can be used any way you want to use them. Where is the line drawn with opinion? So for example, if you were to say something like that, like this person is stupid, or this like something where there's a set standard though, where you like made a comment about someone's IQ, but in a disparaging way, but that's something that could actually be verified. Would that be opinion, or have you like sort of trespassed into the area of fact?
It's actually really crazy what constitutes opinion and what constitutes fact. So saying like Seamus Coughlin did a backflip, off Tim's deck to the ground.
Yeah.
I said you did something that's a fact.
Yeah, it is.
If I said something like Seamus Coughlin cheated at a game of chess, that's an opinion.
But hold on a second. There are objective standards for whether a person cheats at chess. No.
And
first of all, I don't know how to play, right? But so you know that I cheated.
And so, but I shouldn't say necessarily it's an opinion. It's arguable. So I went through this with a lawyer over a really old piece, and it's basically like, well, what does cheated mean? Define cheated. Like
Broke the rules.
or changed the rules to benefit himself, or in some way took an action unbecoming of the traditional. It's like white supremacist. What's defined white supremacist?
I would say Trump supporter.
The point. So if you call someone a white supremacist, it's actually it's a non-actionable opinion.
Really? Yeah.
Yep.
So I knew that was true with labels like extremist. I was unaware that calling someone a white supremacist is like just a matter. I knew it was oftentimes just used as an opinion and no one was really using an objective definition, but my understanding was that that's an actual label.
Here's the issue.
Or like far right. Dude, I'm so old. I remember when you had to be conservative in order to be considered far right. Crazy.
Right. So you there was an article that came out a while ago, and I was talking to a lawyer about it. They called someone a white supremacist, and they said, define white supremacist. And I said, well, I believe the academic definition is an individual who believes the white race is superior. And he said, whoa. That's not the academic definition.
What?
The academic definition is about whiteness and privilege.
What?
Yeah. That's journalism. I mean, that's college, universities. They say white supremacy is the structure of dominant racial hierarchies in society, which could include Asians or whatever. And so they changed the definition. So if you go into court and say, Your Honor, he called me this and it's verifiably false, the individual will say, no, look, here's how we define it. Here's how everyone believes it. And because the media accepts the alternate definition, opinion.
Interesting.
Unverifiable opinion.
And then, of course, yeah, they're not required to define their terms.
Mm-hmm.
What if I was like Seamus Coughlin, whose cartoons bore millions of people a month? Would that be an opinion?
Well, but that's a fact.
Everybody just watches and they just have their eyes half closed.
Opinion because
that was anodyne enough for a like, and then they'll hit the like button.
But if I'm like Seamus Coughlin, who's white, whose racial supremacy,
who's white skin,
then that's a fact, or that's also
no, it's an opinion.
No, if you call me white
supremacist,
it's just an opinion.
Over my
a statement of fact would be Ian Crossland threw a baseball at a baseball game.
Oh, and it was either true or false.
Right.
But the other ones are, this is
Ian
how
Crossland
I
has a
perceived it.
weak sissy arm, is an opinion. Ian Crossland, who has a weak sissy arm, threw a pathetic pitch at a baseball game.
These all
Opinion.
sound like
All
facts
opinions.
to me. All of these sound
Unless
like
you
facts.
didn't actually
not
throw
wrong.
the baseball.
Yeah,
Your opinion is your opinion's on the money.
Starting a little war here.
It's
I need to
crazy
do more
that.
push-ups.
So I want to avoid getting into dangerous territory with YouTube because I want to make sure this is a conversation people can hear. But saying someone did something isn't always a statement of fact, which is weird.
Really?
Like saying Ian Crossland cheated at a game of Magic the Gathering could be opinion.
Could be. That's dangerous.
Could be. Wow. So if you were like, you got caught and everyone saw you sliding cards in your deck or something, or I could be like, I saw him shuffle that one way, and I say, in my expert opinion, that was a cheating move. Or, for instance, there's a move in Magic. This is a good example. This is a deck game where you shuffle cards, right? For those that aren't familiar. There was something going on where people would... So you can shuffle your opponent's deck to prevent them from cheating. You could say you can cut their deck. So pros would hand their deck to the other player would shuffle it and hand it back. There was one thing people would do where they would shuffle it, but then keep the last card and throw it on top of the deck. And they would see the bottom card was in fact a not good card. Then the next turn, the player would draw the bad card. And so they said that was cheating. Others argued that's not cheating. You can cut the deck any way you want. Information that's revealed because the card is visible is not cheating.
But hold on, but you would
Opinion.
but it would only be opinion if that was what you were referring to as cheating. If you were referring to something as cheating, which is objectively agreed upon by everyone who plays the game as being against the rules, then it would be a statement of fact, no?
This is where the problem comes in, that apparently opinion or fact has a lot to do with whether or not large enough amounts of people agree with a certain definition.
Interesting.
Oh.
Right. So if I said, like, what's something everyone agrees with? If you, a name you could call somebody that meant something objective to every person, which is hard to find. Ian Crossland is a X, and everyone's like, oh, an X is very clearly this thing.
Yeah.
Then it would be like, well, if he's not, then you made that up. The problem is not everyone agrees on what things are, which makes it weird.
Honey is sweet. And that could be a fact, but not everyone's going to taste sweetness when they taste honey.
It is. That I think would be a fact.
It'd be hard to argue.
Because the high sugar content.
Because so many people.
But think
experience
about people saying things like male and female don't exist.
Uh-oh.
Right.
That's
I mean, that is objectively not, that is an anti-factual statement. That is fake news.
That's the problem.
10 years ago.
Yeah,
Hold
but
on.
of course, I agree that generally it's a matter of consensus. It shouldn't be, so like, yes, practically speaking, I mean, there are facts, there are moral truths which are objective, but we operate in a culture where many people believe many different things, and so of course, we don't have the sort of same like hegemonic narrative that we might have surrounding gender, that we did in a time where things made a little bit more sense with respect to our sexual politics.
This is interesting. Think about religion. It's a really good context. Like how is the Pope defined? Like in terms of his position?
Yeah, he's the
authority.
vicar of Christ.
So imagine someone who's not religious would say that's fake. That's not true.
That's not true. That's fake.
So then how could you prove defamation based on that?
But here is where you do get into a matter of fact. So if you were to say, like, if a non-religious person is to say that, like, they don't believe the Pope is, the successor of Peter and Christ's vicar on earth, that's one thing. But then if they were to say, like, Catholics do not teach that the Pope is Christ's vicar. Now you're talking about something that, like, we can. The first, I believe it is a fact that the Pope is Christ's vicar on earth. But if we're getting into something that everyone agrees is factual, you just look at what the church teaches. And if you're saying the church teaches X when it objectively teaches Y, then you are lying. And so this is something that happened. Like, Joe Biden was repeatedly referred to. I've said this before on the show, but he was repeatedly referred to by the media as a practicing Catholic. Despite the fact that he actually does not meet the criteria for what is considered a practicing Catholic based on the definition that the Catholic Church sets, because one of the conditions is you have to give full assent to Catholic teaching, which Joe Biden objectively does not.
But in the eyes of that's exactly it. That's
in the eyes of a non-Catholic, he does enough, and they're like, oh, he seems like he's practicing. They don't even know what the word practicing means.
They don't know what the word practicing Catholic means exactly, but practicing Catholic. So if they were to say, like, he is a devout person or a holy man, well, those are more subjective. But practicing Catholic is a technical term. It's not a subjective label of identity.
Now, what if someone said in an article, Ian Crossland, who is objectively, factually the Antichrist, was seen shopping for a new pair of jeans today.
Oh, crap,
total opinion.
Yeah, well, yes.
It's a faith-based thing. They can't say you're lying.
So then here's the question, though.
Weird stuff.
Are you allowed to throw around words like objectively
Yes.
if you're acknowledging that you're only speaking an opinion?
You are. What? It's the weirdest thing. Like,
so if I were to say, like, Ian is objectively a white supremacist, that's just opinion.
Yes. Because define white supremacist.
I told you, Trump voter.
If you have a critical race theory definition of white supremacist, then yes, Ian is.
New facts
Well,
emerge showing that I think Tim's a big jerk.
Yeah. Well, that's
an opinion.
And of course, the trade-off that they have to come to terms with, but won't, is that when words become so subjectively defined, they no longer carry the same weight. So for years and years and years, the word racist was thrown around like it was nothing. And then probably around the time the 2016 election came around, and this is not an original observation, other people have said this, they realized that the word racist just wasn't cutting it anymore. So you'll notice, like, it was right around 2017 when they started calling everyone white supremacist instead, because it's a much more objective sounding term than racist. And also it's one that can only apply to white people or people who are in favor of this structure of whiteness or whatever you would call it. And now that seems to have lost all meaning. So I think the next term they've sort of moved towards is incitement to violence.
Right.
Like, if you agree with what Trump said or did, or you promote his movement, that is incitement towards violence. And that's something they've sort of been doing for a long time. Critical theorists have done this. Oh, if you disagree with trans ideology, then you are inciting violence against trans people because hate crimes occur against them. And that's the result of the fact that you're creating a culture of hatred, etc. But it's so easy to make that argument for any group of people. For example, I could say, well, veterans have a very high suicide rate. So, criticizing U.S. foreign policy probably makes a lot of them feel horrible about their experience overseas. So you're contributing to their suicide rate. You can play these same games with any group you want.
So imagine a journalist emails you. And they're like, hey, Seamus, we want to just get some comments from you real quick about the story we're working on.
Delete is what I do.
Just a real quick question. How would you be in favor of, say, people pooling their resources to try and improve technology towards newer, cooler energy tech like fusion? Or
Seamus supports the Green New Deal.
And then they would write, hold on. You're like, oh, that sounds good. Then they would write, Seamus Coughlin, a proponent of the Green New Deal, and you would say, that's not true. I never supported that. They'd be like, we asked him in email if he was in favor of supporting green new technology. He said yes. Mm-hmm. So we called him a proponent of the Green New Deal.
Which, to be fair, that is the one left-wing policy I do support. The green. We can't afford not to have a Green New Deal right now. It's insane.
Now here's the best part. Because you just said that, you can never sue someone who claims you're a proponent of the Green New Deal.
Even though I'm just #JKing?
Doesn't matter.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, because
so that does not hold up in a court of law?
Jokes on
if someone
this is a new
dude, this is a new meme.
If somebody wrote, Seamus Coughlin of FreedomToons, who is a proponent of the Green New Deal, said today that blah, 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 if you sued, they would show that clip where you said, it's the one thing I actually agree on. And the judge is going to be like, I think a reasonable person can conclude you were joking, but you can't hold them responsible
You
for
can't
not
expect the
understanding
media
them.
to be reasonable people, so we're going to let them off the hook here.
There's a possibility that they'll say a reasonable person would have understood the joke and thus they shouldn't have. But I think actually a reasonable judge would say you can't just assume someone understands your intent.
That's hilarious.
If you say something and someone takes it literally.
So everything everyone has ever joked about really could just be literal.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And the issue
What
then
if
becomes
I'm-
cultural enforcement as to whether or not you hold institutions credible based on what they say.
So the question, like, what if I'm playing a character in a movie? Does Jeff Goldblum actually believe life will find a way?
So the issue then
said
goes
it.
to the actual malice standard. If there's a clip of you and you say something like the Green New Deal is the best, I absolutely am in favor of this, and it turned out to be a
Tim, now you can say it about you too.
Oh, of course, but I like the real Green New Deal, not the AOC Green New Deal, which is a cult manifesto. So I actually do like the idea of infrastructure investment and new technologies. I don't like AOC's version, which is some kind of weird cult manifesto about equity in healthcare and paying people who don't want to work. That's garbage nonsense. But before the Green New Deal, now we're getting to the Green
Well,
New
she's
Deal.
the boss, dude. She's the boss. So
point
you
is,
come up with
listen,
your own plan, and until
if-
then, listen.
If someone writes a story about you saying you support the Green New Deal, and they see a clip from a movie of you saying it, you can't prove actual malice. Because they'll say, look, I realize after the fact he doesn't, but at the time I genuinely thought it was true based on
But
what I
what
saw.
if you kill someone in a
So-
movie and they say a known murderer?
We're actually not that far from that happening, though, is the problem. What about
Actual malice standard.
Oh, come
You
on.
have to
Something's
prove
wrong.
they knew that. I know. So you
they
have
could have just gotten the clip.
So I'm sure there are some lawyers who might have like, listen, this is mostly just based off my experience. I'm not a lawyer. My understanding is the challenge is proving actual malice, meaning if Ian says Seamus did something, Seamus has to prove Ian knew beforehand what he was saying was false. If someone says, here's the clip we saw of Seamus shooting a rocket launcher into a building full of nuns, then people would be like, well, a reasonable person might conclude that didn't happen.
Well, hold on. But can we now say Tim Pool, who falsely accused Seamus of shooting a rocket launcher
There you
into a
go.
group of nuns,
Who
earlier this
supported
week,
known
he
false
calls
information.
himself a journalist, and he spread this fake news. So what about Ed Norton? Can we say that he is a white supremacist?
Well,
you can call anyone a white
obviously.
supremacist, I guess, but could you call him a neo-Nazi? Is neo-Nazi an actual
Opinion.
defined term?
Opinion.
Neo-Nazi.
It's opinion.
What if you say like curb stomped somebody, killed them because he did it in a movie?
I think
He
you could
chose to
I-
portray a known Nazi.
Or what if you don't? What do you have to say?
sorry,
Chose to
interrupt you.
portray?
What were we
How
saying?
do you prove malice?
Listen. Here's what it ultimately comes down to: whether or not the judge thinks you're being reasonable or absurd. The problem is with Times v. Sullivan, you have an actual malice standard, which means knowing that what you're saying is false. That's a really hard thing to prove.
Yes, extremely difficult.
So the New York Times fought Project Veritas in a ridiculous way, saying our fact-based news, it was actually unverifiable opinion and thus is not actionable. And the judge was like, yo, this is not an opinion section. So what you're saying is taken as fact by most people. It doesn't matter. This is the importance of the Veritas ruling. They're basically saying your opinions are purported as facts because it's the New York Times. Therefore, you lose the protections of of the opinion standard.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
And, but the NYT, of course, is saying, actually, we are, as a matter of fact, opinion journalists. No?
That was their defense.
Okay.
And then the judge responded. The New York Times responded that their fact-based news article about Veritas was actually unverifiable opinion.
Ooh.
And the judge then said, okay, while typically opinions, you can't sue for someone's opinion, you put them in a fact-based news article. If I say, so this is where it gets interesting. This article is 100% fact. Ian Crossland is a lying thief.
Yeah.
Then they can be like, that's actually your opinion. If I said this is my opinion, Ian Crossland is a lying thief, then they can't sue me.
And if you do a fact-based article with 99% facts and then one opinion, the entire article becomes an opinion piece. If this
And it must be labeled as such.
Okay.
So this is why
crazy.
Veritas is so important. Because in the past, when I've talked about libel suits, every lawyer says, it's an opinion, you can't sue. And I'm like, they straight up accuse me of doing a thing. No, it's an opinion.
They
you
said I
can't
murdered
define.
orphans.
But you can't define some of these terms like causing hurt or violence or incitement. All of these things are interpretable. So you can't win. With this new ruling, changes the game. Veritas opened the door.
So here's a question. What if you mentioned that the article can be 99% fact-based, and if it's one, like Snopes would sign off on all of it. But if there's one part which is opinion, now the whole thing is an opinion piece. But
Has to be labeled opinion.
But what if the opinion is real? Like, what if you're listing facts and then at the end you're like, yes, this did happen. There was this scandal with the Biden administration, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end you're like, I enjoy grapes. They taste good. And it's an obvious opinion. Or like if at some point in the article something comes up which is your opinion but isn't quite related, maybe you're setting up the story, but everything else is fact-based. Now the whole thing is an opinion piece and I can say whatever I want. Fascinating.
Well, hold on. You can't say things you know to be false.
Are my cartoons opinion? Or did those happen? I don't know.
Dude, you make a good point because
I'm pretty tired right now.
just like movies.
Was Joe Biden, what was your latest one? Joe
Biden's stutter. Please check that out if you're watching. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Joe Biden, it's not that his brain isn't functioning well and he's not fit to be the leader of the free world. He actually has a stutter because that's how stuttering works.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did a video on Joe Biden's speech therapy class. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. He gets the stutter worked out. It's just gut busting laugh fest. Yes. Laugh fest from start to end. I did a video of him in math class as well.
I think the funniest thing to like in terms of Biden is talking about putting the razor blade in the barrel.
That is the best. Tim and I have a bit that I don't want to spoil it, but we're probably gonna do a Freedom Tune based on another one based. The idea was too good.
I don't know how that
Before
came
the
up.
show, we were talking about Biden, and as we always do.
I can my opinion is it was a good idea.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Hey, you made a great point about movies and how if an actor does something in a movie, it doesn't mean that they did it in real life.
Yeah, of course.
Because this is a TV show. Whether you want to, I don't know if people realize it or not, we're on TV right now doing characters on a show. This is not how I am when we sit around a table and eat dinner.
I want to stress
we're elevated versions of ourselves.
We got a correction.
So is all social media.
Okay,
we have a correction real quick. Zerosifer just super chatted. I'm wrong. Actual malice is, quote, with knowledge that it was false or with reckless disregard of whether it was false or not. So if it was a movie clip of someone doing something, it would be reckless disregard.
But that was just your opinion when you said that malice is the standard. So really, you're not wrong. It was just your opinion.
Yeah, exactly. It was my expert opinion. I did not actually know it wasn't true, so it's not actionable.
My point is this is a TV show. We've entered a new stage of art creation where social media is an art form. We're becoming heightened artistic characters that we're creating and we're projecting. So how can you prove any of this stuff is really who we are, what we say on social media?
Ian's not real.
Ian actually is
He's
an
an
astral
astral
Figment
projection.
of Jack's imagination.
Yeah.
He's an astral projection.
That's
Yes,
true.
I have come here to warn you. Be good to each other. Now is the time. We're fractals of the greater whole.
I love it.
Well, there you go.
Beautiful.
Okay.
So I'm wondering,
Interesting.
how can you
Is
prove
that a fact? Let's get Snopes in here. Are we fractals? Are we fractals of the greater whole? I would say no. Let's see what Snopes has to
It's the
say.
holofractographic universe.
Right.
I would love
Look it up.
Snopes to fact check. Is Ian Crossland from Timcast IRL an
An
astral
astral
projection,
projection.
a
Like
figment
Tim.
of Jack's imagination?
Partly
False.
true.
Partly true.
Partly true. Yeah.
Although he is from the outer verse and has inhabited the body
He
vibrating.
does have a physical form in this
Does
reality.
he?
He
We don't
is
know.
also
I don't know.
born.
Has Snopes actually verified that
No.
Ian has physical form? I
No,
don't think so.
I'm in contact with them
Okay, good.
about that. I wonder if we'll be able to prove that anyone that did anything on social media was not a character they created.
They weren't doing a bit. Well,
My whole
that's
Twitter is
all,
a
but
bit
that-
at this point.
But that's
My
that's,
YouTube channel basically was. I
that's
mean,
an
I believed a
age-old
lot of it,
defense.
but I said it in a crazy character way.
That is an age-old defense, though. Like, I was just kidding. And sometimes people abuse that. It's like, you weren't kidding. But also, it's hard to know because sometimes you'll make a really obvious joke. People are like, can you believe he said that? You're like, I was
Yeah, it's a
joking.
joke.
And they're like,
Yeah.
dude, you're falling back and it was just a joke. Come on.
I just don't care anymore.
Like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
I tweeted.
producing-
I tweeted today is 4/5, which will now be known as Trump Day in honor of the 45th president. It got like 1,000 retweets.
Yeah.
And it will be.
That is literally a joke. I just thought it was funny because I was doing. I do the dates for when I'm making playlists, and I'm like, oh, it's 4/5.
Oh, 45.
It's 40, it's Trump Day,
Ah, yeah.
40
and I'm like, I'm tweeting that.
Here we go.
People were like, a lot of people were just laughing, like, but there. And then I tweeted, "Welcome to Twitter. Enjoy your stay here." So it's just there are these people. I mentioned the hooping thing when Jack Posobiec posted the clip of George Floyd saying he was hooping. I responded with the Urban Dictionary entry for what hooping is, saying "Get your hooping. Don't forget to get your hooping mug." It's a joke. The whole thing was a joke because Urban Dictionary says it's shoving stuff up your bum.
Oh, gross.
But it says at the bottom, "Get your hooping mug," on Urban Dictionary, and then these people were like, I can't, Tim, this is why people think the right is so racist because, they say things like this or whatever. And then someone was like, Tim claims he's from the hood, but doesn't know what hoopin' means. And I'm like, no, it's a joke. You're the kind of people who thought my impeach the queen tweet was real.
Right.
This is what, so I don't even care. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Reckless disregard of the truth? At this point, we have a faction of people who are so unable to empathize and understand humor. How could the reckless disregard standard even hold?
Yeah. So I know these fellas at this publication called The Babylon Bee, and they're very, They're handsome, but they're very slow, and I try to explain things to them. And no, they're both great actually. But I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but Snopes has fact-checked them in the past. That's been a really big problem.
Yeah.
Then what happens is they're demoted in the algorithm because they're considered to be fake news, even though it's obvious satire. And I did a video on this a while ago, but they had this really bogus study where they said that some large percentage of conservatives believed that Babylon Bee headlines were factual. But the way they arrived at that number is they took Babylon Bee headlines, removed them from the context of being published by a satirical outlet, and reworded them in a way to make them sound like they were serious. Right. So there was one headline, and it was something like, the evidence against Russiagate was put there to test our faith. It was like an obvious joke, right? And it's a caricature of the creationist argument that fossils are put there to test our faith. And they reworded it to be like, this media pundit said that his faith in Russiagate is unshakable and no evidence could change his mind. It's like, okay, well, you've totally changed it. So that's where it gets really dangerous with fact checking, and the fact that people get a lot of leniency. Who actual journalists will get this leniency that comedians and satirists on the right won't get.
Right. Yeah, like the articles in question would say something like, it was like AOC stands atop her desk and proclaims her support for communism to much fanfare. Then flags dropped down and the Soviet anthem plays. Yeah. And then they would reword it to be like, AOC announces that she's forming the Communist Party. And it's like people would be like, oh wow, that sounds like real news. Like she's joining, but it was like the actual context was absurdity. They stripped out the absurdity to make it factual news that could be real. Like Seamus Coughlin goes for a walk with the dog, when the actual article was Seamus Coughlin walks world's giant dog, Clifford the big red dog. Clearly false.
And this is funny. So I was actually just going to pull up, I wrote this, it's been probably about 2 years, but it's probably been about 2 years, so I was pulling up the script on my Google Drive so I can pull some of the examples up. But just to verify that it was just friendly ribbing, I just got an email from Ethan, so we don't actually hate each other. As I was checking. No, I love those guys.
Great article.
They are, so basically they reworded. Yeah, so the article, it was, CNN, God allowed the Mueller report to test our unshakable faith in collusion, was reworded as CNN anchor Anderson Cooper said his belief that Trump colluded with Russia is unshakable. It will not change regardless of statements or evidence to the contrary.
Like that actually sounds
like it sounds like something but it's exactly and so they published this whole study about how people are buying into fake news as if it's fact, despite the fact that this is obvious satire and basically everyone knows it. And so it's extremely upsetting, and it's totally one-sided because this never happens the other way. Well, I mean, again, even actual publications let's not call New York Times an actual publication, but people who purport to be telling the truth in a fact-based manner are given this leniency, or at least attempting to get the kind of leniency that satire websites on the right don't get.
I would say at this point, based on the ruling from this judge, that it is a fact that the New York Times injects opinions and masquerades as a factual. The New York Times masquerades as a fact-based news outlet when in fact it's publishing opinion pieces under the guise of fact.
So there's this guy. I don't know if you guys know him. His like Michael Malice. I think you guys might be friends with him. No, he has said some things. He has said some things which suggest he's kind of doesn't like the New York Times, and he thinks they've been bad. Yeah, so I would just look into what he's written about this stuff, because he seems this Michael Malice guy is saying he doesn't think NYT is that great. So I would just encourage
shout
everyone
out Michael too much.
Oh, Michael Malice.
I know. Yeah.
Michael Malice.
That's why I tried to say his name wrong. I was like, I can't keep.
He was on the show last Thursday.
Yeah, he was.
He was great.
Yeah.
We literally shout him out like 3 times a week.
He's very funny. And also a writer. His new book will be coming out soon.
Dude.
There you go. Now he gets another shout out.
Michael Malice.
All right. Let's go to Super Chats. We love you, Michael. Super Chats. Let's see. So as per usual, the YouTube. Oh, we got the tinfoil gorilla.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys see it in the it's in the chat? It's pinned. I finally put up the tinfoil gorilla thing. It's the tinfoil gorilla shirt. He's a gorilla. It's got black text instead of white text, and he's wearing the tinfoil hat. And it's only going to be up for a little while. So this is a limited edition. We're going to do the tinfoil hat. Because basically I decided, we were wondering whether we would do the tinfoil hat. And I was like, let's just do the regular gorilla. So we had the graphic. And then I mentioned it. I was like, we'll put it up at some point. And then I never did. And then I finally did. So it's there now. You can buy it. And it will probably not be up for longer than like a week or two. Just because I figured this one will be special.
So he's able to reflect electromagnetic frequency off of his head and protect his brain and his
Theoretically.
and his pineal gland.
No, because electromagnetic waves can actually go through your body
Uh-oh.
and up your skull.
Uh-oh.
And then what it does is it actually makes it bounce around more.
Evolution.
Yeah, people don't realize that it actually creates a dome that, like a satellite dish, it captures the waves.
I like it.
So anyway, let's read some super chats. We got one, but I
People
can't
were thinking
read
about your beanie then, just by the way.
That's right. I can't read
I
the
was.
name because YouTube is blocking it, but they say can't wait for you and B Tatum, only two I joined membership with.
Nice.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Brandon Tatum?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Your mom says, who would win in a fist fight, Joe Biden or Bill Clinton? Seamus?
That's a tough one. I mean, Bill's
Younger, right?
good deal old. I think, yeah, who is older at
I think
this point,
Biden's
actually?
older.
Bill Clinton, age. Let's see if I get a factor and opinion. Bill Clinton's 74,
so he's
and
younger.
Joe Biden.
78.
Yeah, I guess Joe Biden is older. Than
Bill
me.
Clinton would bop him one and win because he got 4 years, man.
Joe, we're gonna put our fists up. Yeah, I think, but it's hard because the last time I saw a picture of Bill Clinton, he looked like neither of these men are in good shape. I'm not sure. I don't think the victory would exactly be impressive, but I think that Joe Biden would probably lose. I don't think Joe. Well, here's the thing. So Joe, we know that Joe knows how to street fight. Right, like he has a razor, he puts it in a rain barrel, bangs it on the cement, gets it rusty,
Is it Rusty? Yep.
and brings, I'm going to wrap this chain around your head, right? And Bill Wright would be helping him, but Bill Clinton is younger and has, I think, a little bit more energy, and also he survived being married to Hillary Clinton. So
Yeah.
I don't think
Tenacity.
I think that he's probably got the edge here.
Biden's got the reach.
That's true.
He's got those long arms.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but Bill's probably got some
Yeah.
crazy Kama Sutra
Yeah.
kung fu or something.
Yeah,
you know what I
he's
mean?
ready to tangle.
Yeah.
Yuck.
He's been doing
He'd
it
be
his
like, let me
whole
show
life.
you how I do it, Bill.
Since college.
I mean, Joe.
Let's get in a fight.
Got hair
show
on
your
legs.
Yeah,
hair
I
legs.
I think. Yeah. Now, of course, this is factual and not opinion based. So you
Yeah.
can quote me. No.
All right.
That's the way you phrased it.
All right, let's see. Logan Cisco says, IRL crew, Crowder made me think last week. Why is the left saying only cops need guns, but also ACAB? Also, Portnoy Pool 2024.
Ooh, I like that ticket.
I don't know about that one. Dave's cool, though, but
pretty rad.
I'm not running for office. Yeah, because there's no logic. There's only tribalism. Listen, if you're like, the people here, I believe, all operate on principles, where it's like, I don't care about who, which tribe it is. I care about whether it's right or wrong, and we'll make things better. And then you have some people who are just like, I want to win, and I'm trying to be on the side of the winner. So they're simultaneously like, only the cops should have guns.
Only the social workers should have guns too.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
They're basically cops.
That's the social worker thing is so funny because you would just end up creating a two-tier system, which would in practice end up being way more racist because the phone calls to social workers would probably be more likely to happen in neighborhoods where you have like these Karens calling the police on everyone and they'd send social workers out. So it would be areas where there's less violent crime getting a lot of the social workers, and you'd create sort of like a two-tier system where impoverished neighborhoods were policed by actual cops and like wealthier neighborhoods and white neighborhoods just got these cushy social workers.
Have you done a cartoon on the social workers responding to crimes?
I have not.
It seems like something
That might be something. That might be fun. I could do something.
there's like a city burning down in a violent fire, and there's like a criminal. He's holding people hostage.
Social worker
Call the social worker. All right, Fish B84U says, yes, Seamus, I love Freedom Tunes. Just did a binge watch on the Debunkers videos earlier today.
Thank you. Keep watching this. We're going to be producing more. We had a hiccup with the production of one that I was hoping to release this month, but we might get it out later. They've been a lot of fun, and I enjoy making them. So thank you so much.
Quiet Guitarist Fan says, should make a shirt with Ian that says, you could make that out of graphene. Also, correction from Friday, Christ was crucified on Friday and died on Friday.
Oh, same
Is
day.
that's true?
That's correct.
Yes, yeah. Good Friday.
Oh, wow.
Good Friday.
You can make a lot of stuff out of graphene.
That's true. Yeah.
Ian's made out of graphene.
Yes.
It might not be wrong.
We are carbon, actually. All right. Chris Blank Production says, will you be posting your segments from your other channels on your website soon? They're there already. Just at the bottom. You scroll down, and the other segments are actually there.
So it's the last guy's chat. So Jesus was crucified and died within the same day? I thought he hung there for days.
No, he died. So it was common for people who were victims of crucifixion to hang there for days, but Jesus did not. He died the
They were,
same
like,
day.
stabbing him.
They were particularly. They stabbed him after he was dead, but they were particularly brutal to him. In a way that they generally were not to people who they crucified. So part of the punishment with crucifixion is that you would hang there and you would just have like your face pecked off by crows, and it was horrible. But no, he died quickly because of how harsh and brutal they were to him, and he gave up his spirit, and then they went and stabbed him through. Also, one thing they would do to wrap the to speed the crucifixion up, which they didn't do to Jesus, but did to the two thieves on the cross next to him, is they would break the legs too, so that they would just go down and then suffocate.
Wow.
Because when you're crucified, you have to prop yourself up to get oxygen into your lungs. And so you will die of asphyxiation once you get weak enough to just hang there, which is, and that's going beyond the unbelievably excruciating pain you're in. And yeah, they would just come up and crack the people's legs if they wanted to speed the process up, so they couldn't prop themselves up and get air.
It was prophesied
Brutal.
they wouldn't break any bones.
Exactly, they wouldn't break any bones, but they did pierce him through his heart, and water and blood came out.
All right, let's see. Zuavbro says, Tim, I'm a cop. Things have gone crazy, and the environment we work in is very hostile towards us. The George Floyd trial will only cause more problems for us all. Yeah, man.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Support policing in general. We need it. But of course, it's a big conversation.
All right. Allah Gaming Channel says, hey, man, say man, stop hating on Bible Man. That's my guy. It took me this long to say this because I'm never able to catch the stream. Stop hating on Bible Man.
Was that a show?
Do you know what Bible Man is?
Cartoon?
Oh my goodness.
Remember?
I never saw it, but I've seen little bits and pieces. This was like, wait, was Bible Man, was this live action or was this animated?
It was animated.
This was animated, right?
I
So this is
think
the
so.
90s. It was a 3D thing?
Yeah, I think
Yes,
so.
I'm for that. I never saw any of it, but I definitely.
All right. Sekantia says, okay, here's 50 from Allie. Now read it. How about LEO YouTubers, law enforcement officer YouTubers like Donut Operator, Officer 401, Angry Cops, or Mike the Cop, an experienced POV for LEO and some good input on cops among all this LEO tension and misconception as an excellent idea. I'm familiar with Donut Operator. I'm not familiar with the others, but I'd love...
Tatum?
What's up?
How about Brandon Tatum?
I know, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
But
I
I
think
think Donut Operator would be cool, too. I've seen his videos.
Yeah, I've seen some of their stuff. I think Mike the Cop isn't a
I
cop
also-
anymore, though, right? But he's still a law enforcement
Retired,
YouTuber? Or is it?
yeah.
Yeah, he retired.
Aren't they all?
I think so.
Are they all retired? Yeah. You
I
can
just-
imagine. I mean, who would want to do that job anymore?
I just like Donut Operator. It's a great name.
That is a great
For a
name.
cop,
That is a
like-
fantastic name.
Very self-aware name.
Yep.
Having fun with it. Troy Dunham says, hey, Seamus, love your channel. What is your take on the media blackout of the April 2nd insurrection on the Capitol?
Oh, I'm not familiar. The media was so blacked out that I didn't even get a word on it.
this
But
was
God
the
bless you.
Farrakhan
I'm
guy.
glad you support my work and appreciate it.
That was the Farrakhan
Yeah,
guy.
that was the Farrakhan guy.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
a supporter of Louis Farrakhan. That's weird.
Yep.
Why would the media talk about that?
They
That's
dropped
weird.
that
That's
one.
weird.
About it. It's
The
so
insurrection,
strange.
isn't that a threat to our democracy? Weird.
This is very dangerous to our democracy.
Yeah.
All right, Crimson 7 says, you guys are awesome. Thanks for helping me get to know the lies and truths spread by media. If the other people like me want to talk, political and culture, I have a Twitch at Crimson27 where I like to talk about ideas normally on around 11 p.m. Central Time. Hey, there you go.
Nice.
Aces Maven says, glad to see Seamus on the show again.
Woo.
I
Thank
really
you.
enjoy Freedom Tunes. Maybe you can look into Kayvon Comedy as a possible future guest. We'll check it out.
Never heard of that.
Find someone to
You
replace
just
Seamus.
done with me, through with me? Yeah. Same breath. He's like, look, now Seamus is great, but let me tell you about this other guy.
Hey, Fat Freddy's Cat says, Tim, check out the opening of the new skate park in Des Moines, Iowa. Dew Tour will be there. It would be a cool thing if you were there, and I work too much, so that won't happen.
That's cool, though.
Holograms.
Holograms, astral projection.
Simple holograms.
All right, Jerk Emperor says, I don't know how much more negatively I can handle. How negatively I can handle. I'm horrible because I'm male, oppressed because I'm black, and now I just outright suck because I'm a Trevor. I didn't pick
Trevor.
that name,
Oh,
guys.
snap.
Sounds like Timcast.com is anti-Trevor.
I'm sorry,
Somebody
Trevor.
super chatted saying Trevor sucks. It was just like as a general. And so we started joking like Trevor's the worst.
Dude,
lot of
I like
Trevors out
Trevor.
there.
Hold on, I like Trevor.
You know I do too.
Trevor's
Yeah,
great.
so does he.
Yeah,
Trevor's
what's wrong with
awesome.
Trevor?
Yeah, who said Trevor was bad? They're bad.
Why would
No,
you
what
do
a
this? Is
jerk.
Trevorcast IRL.
So
We're
are
all
like
about it.
males and people that identify as black people. Like those people are awesome.
Yeah,
people
yeah,
are
yeah,
awesome.
especially Trevor's. Agreed.
All right. Jack Dawes says, I would like to file a complaint over Our Pillow.
Oh, boy.
The quality was too high. I bought the one off Teespring as a gag for a friend. Come to find out it's decent. What the hell? I thought I was buying burlap and peanuts. No,
Well, here's
no.
the thing: that
Yeah.
what keeps you up isn't the pillow; it's the emptiness in your stomach under
Oh, yeah, yeah,
communism.
yeah.
So
The Teespring version was just the joke graphic, and then I decided to make the burlap sack with packing peanuts, which we're gonna have to figure that one out, how to get it out. The idea was to have to do something with Ryan Long where we would make this commercial, but I think I don't know if the good pillow from David Hogg is actually gonna happen,
I don't think it is.
and we need it to because
Come on,
The burlap
man.
is on standby.
we do have them. We do have. Have you seen the Our Pillow?
I saw one. It was actually in the room that I am crashing in.
Oh, yeah, it's got
so
the- it's
it
got
was
the-
right there. I was very
the-
offended. I got rid of it. I was like, I can't sleep on this pillow.
It's got the fist holding the pillow.
Yes.
Let's see. Zachariah Kitzman says, cop here. Most policies are open-ended to leave liability on the officer and not the department. I.e., if a school shooting happens, the department can't mandate I go in because if I'm injured, it's on them.
Oh, wow.
And then the cop gets sued for not
That's a mess,
going in.
yeah.
Isn't that amazing? All right, let's see where we're at. Ryan M. Prower says, just got out of the military, but a week before I did, we went through that extremism training. I don't have enough room to summarize it here, but it was unnerving how the brief went and what the message was. I just wanted to let, and then it cuts off right there.
They found him.
They found,
They were like, stop typing that.
You're coming back. Can't they make you re-enlist?
What?
Yeah,
I
like,
don't know.
No.
like if you're in for 4 years and you leave, they can reactivate you and force you to come back or something.
Maybe.
I don't know how that works.
Pretty sure that's true.
I think I've heard of that. living in
Yeah, I'm
Colorado
pretty sure.
Springs.
I mean, they can draft people. They haven't done it in a long time, but I guess it wouldn't
Yeah.
completely shock me. They could
Yeah.
pull people back in.
I think it depends on your skill set.
Nicholas Montiel says, last week a super chat said John the Baptist wrote the book of Revelation. It was written by the apostle John when he was in exile on Patmos. Love you all. Stoicism episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ryan Holiday.
Yes.
What,
Let's do it.
do you know who wrote Revelation? John. It was not the Baptist. It was a different John. John of Atmos. Is that what his name was?
Patmos?
Patmos.
Patmos?
Yeah.
No, no, it's Apostle John when he was in exile on
Oh,
Patmos.
yeah, that's right. He's
And that's not the
Patmos.
Baptist.
No, it's a different one.
Okay.
Seamus, do you think that the vaccine passport is the mark of the beast? Like Marjorie
boy.
Taylor Greene?
Here's the thing. The mark of the beast, low church Protestants as a group, not always. I love them. Some of them are super good people. I love them. But often will just kind of call anything the mark of the beast.
Yep.
So
Yep.
basically
Yeah.
everything
Yep.
that comes out. The Babylon Bee also had a very funny article. Is like the vaccine passport can now be like they're now offering the vaccine passport like on your hand or forehead. How convenient. It is funny. I don't know. I mean, there are so many things that people have said are the mark of the beast. I just tend to say, no, I don't
What
think
do
so.
you
I
think
don't
is
think-
the mark of the beast?
I-
Super chat?
Believe it or not, I don't think that's the end of times. I think it's a typical view people take. Everyone sort of thinks their generation
Yeah.
is the last one.
Yeah.
I don't think so. And also, like Scripture says, no one knows the day nor the hour. And it's very well possible that this is the end of the West as we know it, or the end of America, but it's not the end times. There hasn't been worldwide apostasy. There's been quite a lot of apostasy in the West, but in Africa and even in China, the church is growing.
Yeah. Kiwi2113 says, love it when Ian brings up Dune. It is my ultimate favorite series. It's an interesting look behind the curtain of government in space.
It was so good. I read it when I worked at Ground Zero. I would do 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. shifts Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Jeez.
and had a lot of time on my hands doing security. And man, that book kept my attention.
Eve Welcome says, Ian, you're adorable. If I wasn't happily married, ... wink.
Eve.
Well,
Fellow-
Eve, you shouldn't
fel-
really be talking about
happy
people
for
that
you.
way. If you are happily married, please don't.
She says, fellow Dune nerds unite.
Or
Bless-
if you're even if you're
Yes, I'm
unhappily
speaking
married, you
your
shouldn't
love
talk about
language.
people like that.
You should show your
She
husband
says,
Dune.
bless the maker and his water. Bailal Kaifa. What does that mean?
I think that's from Dune. I don't know. I read it.
Yeah.
It's one
She
of
said,
those.
I don't know. I read it.
It was a long time.
By the way, I was not insinuating that she's not happily married. Just please don't. Even if you're unhappily married,
Yes.
Yeah.
don't
Talbot-
say emotionally unfaithful things.
Talbot Link says, y'all need to read Machiavelli's Art of War. Very info-dense, two-part conversation that discusses a great many structures and behaviors. Can work as a short play. It'll blow Ian's mind.
I didn't know Machiavelli did an Art of War. I saw you have Art of War on your desk downstairs.
Yeah, Sun
Yeah.
Tzu.
Great. I think that might be my little Art
Someone
of War. No,
gave
I
it
had
to me.
two. I think someone gave
I think
me
Tiffany gave it to me.
Tim's favorite book. He's always plugging it. He's always telling me, read Art of War.
I still
Seamus,
haven't
you
read
need
it.
to Read that.
Have you read
Yeah.
it through it yet?
No. Have you ever heard that story about that Chinese general who was completely outnumbered and had very little resources? So he opened the gates to his fortress, climbed on top of the wall, and started playing a lute or
Zhou
something.
Liang, yeah.
Yeah. And then when the enemy's army showed up, they were like,
He's my
it's a
he-
trap! Retreat! And they all ran away.
He's one of my heroes. He was Liu Bei's. He's known. He invented the
Risky, man.
the crossbow, the repeating crossbow.
What else was he going to do? He was
Yeah,
gonna
no,
lose.
it's risky, but a lot of people would not do that.
yeah.
It's spelled like Zhu Ji Liang.
I would.
They
Zhou
thought it was a
Liang.
trap, so they were on. That's
can
When
read
YouTube
his
comes to
treatises.
demonetize me, that's
Dude,
what I'm
he's
doing.
one of my idols, historical idols. That guy. He's known as like a genius strategist and
hilarious.
philosopher and artist.
That's
That
an
is
awesome
brilliant.
story.
That
He was
is
a
brilliant.
farmer that retired from public life and did not want to join, and they sought him out and had to go visit him They called him the sleeping dragon. The people were like, you got to find this guy. And he went. He kept
freaking movie.
appealing to him, like, please join me. And he was like, and then he realized I have no choice. I'm being called to service.
That story's great.
You'll love that guy.
They
God.
thought it was a trap.
Yeah, a genius.
Kill Dog says, hey, Tim, Ian is right. The entire 7-book Dune series is amazing. Truly great storytelling. That's right.
I only read the first one.
Ben Jamin says, remember when YouTube had 5 stars out of likes and dislikes? And I'm fighting a sneeze right now.
Oh, bless you.
I'm not going to sneeze.
I have some tissues for you, Tim.
You can breathe out your mouth really slow.
So today I am taking over. I am standing in for Tim, who has to sneeze right now. Today's show we're going to be talking
Normally
about.
I can fight it,
No,
but the
don't
sneeze
fight
got
it.
me.
That's not good for you.
So here's the thing. I learned this recently. I thought that everybody sneezed more easily when they were staring at light. I know, like, staring into a light can induce
That's the
sneezes
thing.
for me.
Yep.
But for that's not true for everybody.
Interesting.
Typically,
Tim, do you
it's for people with light eyes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tim, does like staring into the light help you sneeze or make
Yes.
you have to sneeze? Okay.
I have a theory about that.
It's called a
So
Chu syndrome.
when you have like bacteria or fungus in your wind canal, and you stare into light, the light kills it, and then your body expels it.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
my
think
theory.
that
I think
sounds
it's-
more
I think it just
opinion.
stimulates
That sounds
the
like a
nerve.
New
That's
York
the
Times
hill.
opinion piece.
Yeah, opinion, by the way.
All right.
About that.
I can't read Cyrillic, so I'll just read what they said. E says, Dune is awesome. Sci-fi TV series is a bit better than Lynch's movie, especially second installation. Children of Dune that follows the later books. It shows that Paul, the protagonist of the first book, is not a hero of the story, but a villain. Ooh, wow. Dude, did you guys see this news story from the New York Times about the Mario?
This opinion piece?
The original Mario Brothers found in a desk after 35 years. So 35 years ago, somebody bought an original Mario Brothers NES and left it in their drawer and forgot about it for 35 years. Okay.
Whoa.
They got busy.
They sold it for, I think, like $660,000.
What? Oh, in the box.
Best, yeah, the best part, though, sealed, shrink wrap and everything. The best part was how the New York Times had to explain what the game was. And they say, according to the instruction booklet, it is a game about 2 brothers, Mario and Luigi, who are attempting to rescue Princess Toadstool after Bowser and his turtle army invaded the Mushroom Kingdom, turning the people into bricks.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah. And so
New York
Mario...
Times.
Fake news. That's more
Mario-
NYT misleading nonsense.
Check this out. Mario's literally going around punching
Shattering.
bricks, shattering them,
Dead people.
and then ripping the things from their innards. Like so there's mushroom people turned into bricks, and Mario punches them, shattering them to pieces,
horrifying.
and then the mushroom remnants come out and he eats it to grow.
Ah.
That's
Dude,
crazy. I didn't realize that
metal.
was the plot.
Wow, that is
Wow.
trippy.
This sounds like opinion.
Most people don't know that Mario punches bricks.
Yeah, his little hand is up
His
there.
hand is up.
I
and he
should
jumps
clarify,
and punches
it's
the bricks.
Super Mario Brothers. Mario Brothers was where Mario and Luigi were in like
Right.
on one screen,
Bro.
and the things keep
Yeah.
coming out of the sides. That's
Yeah.
a fun game.
That's in Mario 3. You
It's
can
like the
play
arcade.
that.
Oh, I love that game.
Yeah, the arcade version.
Yep.
Super Mario Bros.
Did you guys ever play Donkey Kong 3?
Oh boy, I hope
3?
you bring Donkey
where you
Kong
jump up with a spray gun and you're spraying Donkey Kong's butt, and he's like climbing up towards beehives and like he's knocking bees down at you.
I don't know what you're
It's
dude.
so
I remember,
funny.
I think I might. I mostly remember the original Donkey Kong, dude. That game was awesome. You
Yeah,
jumping over
Donkey
barrels.
Kong
Yeah.
Jr. was amazing too.
Yeah.
Really good. I used to dream about that game.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I
like
played
how
it
can
so
I
much.
make that jump to that other rope? I would dream about it.
Plenty in your
Dude, yeah, I remember like back in the day, dude. So we had a Sega Genesis. Like every time you died, you had to completely restart. And I remember as a kid like having dreams where I finally got to the next level, and I'd be like, what happens there?
So we got a couple different super chats from people, so I'll just read one of them about enlistment. Enlistment. Carl Reese says, my first super chat. When you enlist, you have an 8-year commitment to the government.
Ah.
You sign up for 4.
Yeah.
You have 4 years active and 4 years inactive ready reserves.
That makes sense.
Oh,
8 years. I can't remember who I asked, but I was like, I think it's on the show. Would you recommend enlisting or going to going to college and getting a degree? And like, get your degree first, you know.
and
I'm
going
like-
in as like an officer.
Yeah.
Wait, they want you to
yeah.
get your but so. Can't you only take advantage of the GI Bill? Like, does the GI Bill pay off your loans after you have them? Or
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't know, but I guess the difference is being enlisted or being a commissioned officer.
Going in as an officer.
Better
Yeah.
to go in as an officer.
Interesting.
Daniel Bundrick says the ironic thing about the knee being on Floyd's shoulder blade is that it would suppress breathing more than it were if it were on his neck.
Interesting.
Since no pressure is on the lungs, especially in the case of fentanyl overdose where respiratory suppression is common.
Interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Bitcoin Hunter says, great show. FreedomToons is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Agree with that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope, and that's not an opinion.
no.
So I'm
That was
beating
facts.
that horse.
Everyone's just saying Dune over and over again.
Isn't it hilarious? I was going to say this earlier. It's
How much
hilarious like what people will seize on from a show.
You never know.
You discuss so many topics, but you never know what's going to stick.
Dune
I
is
know.
underrated in our society. I think that's why.
Dune
Put that in
is
October.
Dune is awful.
Oh,
Super chat me
you're
and
in
tell me why I'm
trouble.
wrong.
That's right.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it.
best.
I knew you were going to do this.
Yes.
Tim.
I'm
Dude
kidding, I'm kidding.
sucks. I don't know.
Paul Atreides and Duke Harkonnen.
Zazuba says, oligopoly is the word you're looking for to describe big tech and social media. I definitely like the idea of making Twitter a common carrier. Yeah.
How do you do that if it's a private company?
I think instead
Verizon's
of
a
Twitter,
private company.
Here's the thing. I think instead of Twitter, everyone in the country should just get one big like group text. And when you have
From
your
Trump.
opinion, you'll just like send your opinion out into the group text, and everyone else gets it.
Oh, I hate
It would just be going.
Yeah, exactly. But like, if so, you find something really cool, you just like retweet it. You know what I mean? Or you like resend it. And that's
I think Twitter should be everyone should be banned from Twitter, and Trump should be brought back.
Trump is the
Just
only one
Trump.
allowed on
Just
Twitter.
Trump.
That's hilarious. He would love it
It's
too.
just called Trumper.
And like, there's
Yeah.
no react ability because no one has an account, but he's still just tweeting all the time.
No, you can
It's
only
like everyone loved this. I do. No, I think it'd be even funnier if you couldn't even do that. So he has no feedback on the tweets, but he's just still constantly putting them out there.
Yeah.
He's doing that with his emails.
He is, yeah.
So like
He
so-
just sends like 150 character emails out every time he would have sent a tweet out.
He
He's
totally
trained.
does, yeah.
No, now he sends paragraphs. You see what he sent
No,
out
I
the
was
other,
kidding.
You see what he sent
Long
out the other
today.
day where he's like, you know, happy Easter to everybody, even the crazy radical left that's trying to destroy the country or whatever.
Oh my gosh. Do you think he
Just
does
like a
voice to
tweet.
text?
Dude.
Or is
I
it
don't know.
all punching in with keys?
I think he does voice to text.
I feel like he does a
He's
lot.
holding his phone up and he's going, "Happy Easter to all of the crazy,
To
to all of the crazy,
Just like Tim does.
to all of the."
Dude, is that
So dumb.
why
Like,
he
who's he
talks
talking
the
to?
way he does? Because he kind of talks like someone who's doing text to speech.
Yeah,
Like the
you're
way he
right.
enunciates his syllables, like the reason for this thing is like it is kind of how you talk when you're trying to make sure the smartphone gets you
true.
right.
talking to his
it does.
secretary.
You're just sitting there like, what's
Okay.
Okay.
He has the perfect cadence for text to speech or
does.
speech to text.
Holy cow, I just noticed that.
Booster Pack says, Tim, it's 1971. You're the proud owner of the first ever Federal Reserve note you borrowed at 2% interest. But if you are the sole owner of the note, how do you pay back the 2% interest? Well, borrow more, of course. That's the way the system works.
Makes
Welcome to
sense.
the Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, well, as
You
long
guys
as
are
they
too
have the guns.
cynical. You guys are too cynical. Federal Reserve is
right.
great. Our monetary policy is perfect.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's
Stop
true.
it now, boys.
So Frito says, are you going to make timcast.com an app? Yes.
What?
So the first thing
yeah.
is the new and improved website.
People are never happy. You know?
And then we're going to make an app where you should be able to play things with the phone off. Like you can
Oh,
turn
nice.
it on, press
Oh,
play,
that's
and then
cool.
put it in your
I
pocket.
love it.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think you can do it with the website unless you have like a browser or something. I don't know if we can do it through a website, but you should be able to do it with the app once we get the app going.
That's
and
exciting.
you know, look, the website was. I don't want to say it was delayed a little bit. We were optimistic, but we decided to be less optimistic in terms of launch because we have to make sure all the members port over properly, and then nobody gets an issue with logins.
Assume that when something's getting developed, it's going to take 3 to 4 times longer than you expect. I know
thumb.
that's a little extreme,
No,
but
that's good, yeah.
with modern tech, if you're up against these big guys, 3 to 4 times longer.
Is this true? Someone get a calculator. Howdy Hey says when you divide
Calculator.
2020 by 666,
Oh, I'm not doing this. I don't care what it is. This is the mark of the beast.
3
you
something.
you
I
get
shouldn't write this person
30330.
Oh,
Yeah.
bro, 30330. Oh
Is
no,
that true?
Yes,
It's
you
true.
do. I just did it. I just did it.
Yep.
That proves it.
30330.
What does
Go
that
to
mean?
30330.
That's Joe Biden's text number
Oh,
It's
inductive.
true.
when you divide 20. But
I'm
like,
sorry, commenter. I'm sorry I wrote you off. 30330.
Times 666
Oh man.
all right, let's
my
do a couple
gosh.
more.
equals 2020.
Garhent says the new Dune movie is woke, so get ready for the Last Jedi all over again.
No, no.
I can see Paul saying the sandworm suffered oppression, and we are on the sandworm's lands.
Oh, I hope he's joking.
No,
Are
I
you
think
joking?
so. It doesn't come out till October.
Oh, nah.
Stephen Clyde says, Seamus, when are you going to do another collaboration with Eric July?
That's a good question. I love working with Eric. Every time I need a voice, I hit him up. So he's really busy, so sometimes it's hard to get a hold of him, but he's usually pretty cool about doing things when we're able to sync up. Yeah, I would love to just because the thing is, like, he and I, when we collaborate, it's never like this planned thing where we're like, we need to collab on something. It's usually I'm just like, I have a cartoon which I would like a voice for. Eric, can you do this voice? Because he always does a fantastic job. I mean, he hits it out of the
good.
park. So yeah, Eric, he's really funny. He's really funny.
love
His
that
his
guy.
delivery's fantastic every time. The racism explained video, I remember I wrote that script and I was like happy with the script, but then I was looking back and I was like, maybe it's not that great. But when I got his audio for it, I was like, this is so funny. Like his delivery just makes it. Every time I've ever had him do a voice, he's just crushed it. So yeah, I want to use him as often as possible, but he's too good for me now. No, I'm kidding. I don't even want fake beef. I love
well,
Eric.
yeah.
He is doing really well, and
I'm
good for
happy
him.
for
He
him, for
should
sure.
be. Yeah.
He's
No,
crushing it.
we'll do something again soon. I'll hit him up right now.
Oh, snap. There
Eric,
you go.
let's collab this instant.
Real-time
This
inspiration.
instant.
All right, let's just do. We'll do one more. Alexander Scarpecci says, "In my department, we were trained to put the lag knee across one shoulder blade on a downward angle, so not to damage the spine at the neck."
Good
Very
call.
interesting.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, smash that like button if you haven't already. And I guess
15,000 likes
guess,
or I delete my channel.
well,
50?
you said 50.
Ultimatum has been
15, no,
served.
15.
Oh, we're good.
Okay,
We're
I
at
thought you said
16,000. So
Seamus Coughlin, who supports the Green New Deal and said, give 15,000 likes or I will delete my channel. 16,000 likes! We did it, baby!
There you
Freedom
go.
Tunes is staying on the internet.
That's right. Thank you all.
Thank you, Seamus.
Thank you guys
all, my
so
friends.
much.
But wait, there's more. There's going to be an exclusive members-only segment coming up in just about an hour or so over at timcast.com. So go to timcast.com, become a member, and learn about all the spicy hot takes from Seamus that he can't say on YouTube.
That I can't say on YouTube. I'm too scared.
I'm going to grill him about religion. God, Jesus.
Please.
The Jesuits.
Oh, man. I'm not
The
going there.
Catholics, I
We'll
wanna
have
know
it
it
all.
all.
We actually did a really long segment with
Yeah, we
Seamus
already
before.
did that, remember?
So
We did.
listen, if
I'm
you go,
obsessed.
you can see it's like an hour long. We did like an hour, didn't we?
Yeah,
talking
we
about
did.
religion?
It was a very interesting
it was super-
conversation,
super
if I do say
interesting.
so myself. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I
yeah, it's
enjoyed it.
fantastic. But we'll have something else coming up, and that'll be for members at timcast.com. So sign up to help out, and make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to this channel. We are so close to 1 million subscribers, and with your support, sharing this and being like, "Yo, subscribe," we will break 1 million subscribers. And so do it. This show is live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back the next time if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify. Give us that good review. And you can follow me on all social media platforms at Timcast. My other channels are youtube.com/Timcast and youtube.com/TimcastNews. And Seamus, I think you have a YouTube channel?
I do have a
right?
YouTube channel, youtube.com/FreedomToons. Go find FreedomToons. I love it. I love making the cartoons there. They're a lot of fun. I also have a second channel that I run with the Foundation for Economic Education called Common Sense Soapbox with Seamus Coughlin. We usually get into economic issues, but those are just short little educational cartoons. A lot of fun. Very informative. So check those places out.
Are we gonna do-
youtube.com/FreedomToons. Are we going to do what?
We're going to do that bit from earlier we were talking about?
Oh, we're 100%. Tim and I are going to make a Freedom Tunes. Tim and I are going to make a Freedom Tunes together. And also, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Tim just told me with his eyes that from now on, I am on every episode because I got us to 16K likes. I'm so proud of all of you as
heard
viewers.
He's doing
You
the
think-
clap
in fact,
speak.
We're going to do Seamus Cast IRL is the new name of the show.
You think you're sneaking on the show? Because we got the extra chair. You can have it.
Join us.
Bro,
Yeah.
let's talk about
Love
it.
is real.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love is kind.
Yes,
I got an
well,
extra chair. Luke abandoned us.
Yeah.
Luke.
One day he was just like,
Bye.
I'm gonna go. I'll be right back.
he like
said
went
he was
to
gonna-
he went to go to the bathroom and then you're like, where'd Luke go?
He said he had to go run and get a
Cigarettes.
pack of cigarettes.
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
yeah. And then we never saw him. He just left.
Left you for a
Oh,
pack of
crushed.
smokes.
Soul crushing. Yeah.
gone.
I'm looking forward to Luke's return.
I don't
Got
think
a
that's
bunch of
gonna happen. He's
packages here.
gone.
You better come back here, Luke.
That's right. You
He's
know
like,
it.
I'm just gonna go to the store real quick with all of my stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna leave tomorrow, I think.
all my things. Yeah.
Hey guys,
He's got Luke stuff to do, you know.
I wanted to shout out my website, iancrossland.net. I'm just kidding. I want to thank you guys for being a part of this movement, this show, and this opportunity. We have a million subscribers, millions of people.
We're gonna
are
get, like-
involved with this.
We're gonna get a bunch of gold plaques for everybody.
It's so amazing. What an opportunity to help people and like spread information that can help people. So thank you guys for being part of it, and thanks Tim for having me and Lydia. And
We're gonna get
Seamus.
rings made.
Yes.
We're
So
gonna
we can
like
punch
BFF
each other
wings.
and tattoo
Like-
We
them.
should get
like Vice
friendship
did.
bracelets. Let's get friendship bracelets.
Everybody,
Wrapping.
I'm gonna order if they allow me a gold plaque for everybody who helps work on the show.
Love it.
That's a lot.
You've heard it. I got us 16,000 likes. I get a gold plaque.
I would
You
say
heard it
so.
from Tim right now.
I'm gonna make one out of styrofoam with like a knife and
That'd be
just
fun.
some cheap paint to give it to Seamus.
Let's
Spray paint it
just
gold.
check out youtube.com/freedomtunes right now. Everybody go there, hit the like button. Let's get to 17,000 likes on my videos. All right? Let's try to.
There you go.
If every single one of my videos doesn't get to 17,000 likes, I am never doing Timcast again as a matter of opinion.
And he's
As a
factual.
matter of opinion, I will never do Timcast again.
I love it. And then
I
yeah,
love it, too.
there's me in the corner. I am similarly excited about reaching 1 million. I think I've been the most excited because I've been worrying about this since Christmas. I was like, this is all I want for Christmas is 1 million subscribers. We didn't hit that goal. It's coming up soon. Easter time, whatever the next holiday is. Anyway, I'm Sour Patch Lids on Twitter and Minds, and Real Sour Patch Lids on Gab and Instagram.
People are saying Luke is in the chat.
Luke is in the
we-
chat.
We need
Get
to
out
give
of
him
my
a
chat.
special flair.
He's been
and
lurking.
Get out of my chat.
he's watching the show and he's like, hey.
Go to wearechange.org. .org, is it?
Yeah, but he abandoned his responsibility, so he doesn't get a shout.
Okay, Luke.
We can't keep him out. He's a pariah.
The bestpoliticaltshirts.com, is that?
Yeah, I think
is
that's
that-
Yeah.
Best
Get
Well,
shirts.
all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a bonus segment up in about an hour at timcast.com. So go there, check it out. We will see you all then.
Bye, guys.